Yuna Kuma, an ordinary rich girl and hardcore gamer, spends most of her boring life indoors, like yourself, grinding her favorite game. One day, she suddenly gets summoned into another world, with a cute but extremely questionable bear outfit. Kinda just too tired to question it all, she just accepts her fate and quickly realizes the bear outfit is insanely overpowered. She starts gaining a reputation fast, whether it's for saving lives or just looking unreasonably weird in bear pajamas. In a faraway village, a boy, Kai, runs away at full speed and hesitantly entering the village, where all the adventurers are gathered, talking among themselves, some in need of new guild members, while others are discussing their next target. Kai throws open the door of the meeting room and yells that he needs their help, announcing that a black viper is attacking his village. The adventurers fall silent, thinking that this boy is delusional. He begs again, saying that his village needs their help. Just then, the guild lady comes out from the crowd and informs him that they will not be able to take the request. She explains that the adventurers are all useless like yourself and cannot take on a black viper. She asks if he's sure he even seen a black viper and maybe he just took some strange mushrooms. Kai screams that he's never seen a normal snake that eats crops and people for their own entertainment. She looks down sadly and says that all the adventurers capable of fighting the monster are away at the moment. Kai desperately offers her money, saying he'll bring more if they just come with him to save his village. But the girl only looks down, unable to give him an answer. Just then, the door opens and if life couldn't be any more of a joke for him, a girl dressed in a bear outfit walks in, asking if she should go help him. She introduces herself as Yuna. Meanwhile, in another world, Yuna is putting on her virtual mask and turns on the game. Kai reluctantly looks at her, asking if she's mocking him. There's no way someone in that questionable costume could fight a black viper. The guild lady also warns Yuna that black vipers are 50 kilometers tall and extremely dangerous. However, Yuna, not caring about this little brat's gibberish, asks if the village is far from Cremonia. The girl tells her it would take a day and a half by horse. Yuna calmly assures them that she'll go scouting in order to save the village. As she makes her way outside, Kai figures out if she's going to get off anyways, he may as well come along to guide her to it. Yuna summons her bears Kumairu and Kumu, surprising them, since bears are rumored to be the strongest but not tameable, then hops onto one and tells Kai to get on top. She reassures him that the bears aren't dangerous. Yuna tells him to show her the way, and Kai tries hard to balance on the bear while giving her directions. They follow the path and stop along the way to rest. Yuna suggests he sleep, but Kai says that reaching the village is more important, then apologizes for what he said back at the guild. He says he's sure she's an amazing adventurer and that it doesn't matter if he collapses, as long as they reach the village on time. Yuna quietly thinks about how strong kids in this world are. They finally reach the village. Kai starts yelling that he brought help, but Yuna stops him from saying too much, telling him that people are probably hiding in their homes. He rushes into his house, calling for his mom and dad. His dad is relieved that he's safe and asks about the woman. Just then, his mother breaks into coughs. Kai tells Yuna that his mother hasn't been able to rest and is getting worse. He informs his father that he brought an adventurer, but his father judges Yuna by her outfit. Kai explains that all the high rankers were gone. His father tells him that those who tried to escape were eaten. He then turns to Yuna and asks what she's doing here. Yuna says she's here to gather information. His father mocks her confidence, but Yuna calmly asks what he knows about the black viper. He tells her how it slithers around town, eats people, and reacts to loud noises. Yuna says she'll go to the nest to look for further clues and bids them farewell. His father asks if she's serious. She tells him that if things go bad, they can use her as bait and run away. Kai runs after her, apologizing for his father. She assures him that she just wants good kids like him to be rewarded. With that, she reaches the nest and sends her bears away. She follows the trail, thinking how a creature that big shouldn't have any place to hide. That means there's only one option. Just then, the ground trembles beneath her and a rock explodes. She smiles, saying she's finally found it. The black snake tries to bite her, but she dodges and launches an attack. When her initial attack fails, she switches to the next, but the snake throws her away. She analyzes the creature and realizes the problem is its skin. It's resistant to both magic and physical attacks. She considers using her trump card. She jumps straight toward the snake's mouth, thinking that if it can't be hurt from the outside, she'll go from within, but the snake dodges again. Yuna then summons magical spikes to cage it in, imagines her power at full strength, and casts bear fire directly at the creature. The fire punches through the snake's skin and it collapses. Yuna seals the snake and makes her way outside. She finds Kai along the way. He tells her that if she had been chased, he was thinking of becoming bait for her. He says he should risk his life for someone who came to save his village. She tells him she defeated the black viper and asks him to gather all the villagers. The villagers gather around the fallen black viper. The village chief, Zun, thanked her. Everyone praises her courage. A small celebration is arranged as the kids admire her bear outfit. As she is about to leave, Kai's father comes forward and thanks her for saving their village. She tells Kai that she should have come earlier. Kai thanks her again for believing in a kid and for coming so quickly. The next morning, Zun serves her eggs. As she eats, she says they're hard to find in Cremonia. Zun informs her that they're cocoa eggs from near the village. She asks what kind of bird that is. He tells her that, unlike normal birds, they can't fly high, make nests in the ground, and make noise in the morning. She wonders if he's just describing a regular chicken. Zun offers her more eggs to take with her. The villagers all bid her farewell. Kai tells her to take care of herself. Yuna returns to the guild. The guild master approaches her, saying they haven't been able to contact the high rankers and that he's planning to head to the village himself. Yuna casually tells him she already defeated the Black Viper, leaving everyone in shock. Then she shows them the proof. Later, Yuna gets up to buy and sell new items, trying to increase her account balance. Her grandpa calls her. She tells him that she doesn't want to go to school and that she gave her parents money for their vacation. Her grandpa tells her to come visit them soon. Yuna flops back onto her bed, ready to enjoy the game again for a change of mood. The first VRMMO World Fantasy Online, where you can experience fantasy like it's reality, and the years since the game went online, Yuna had become addicted to it. She gets online, entering the game. The person receives her, welcoming her, and then tells her that the administrators have given a present to all the players who have been with them for a long time. Then she tells her to choose one treasure box out of hundreds. After some time, Yuna chose one box where she gets a bear costume as a gift. She asks if it's seriously her gift. The person receiving her asks if she's up for a survey, then asks if this world is more fun than reality. She answers that yes, it is. Then the next question asks if there is someone she treasures in real life. She tells her that money is what she treasures the most. The next question asks if Yuna believes in God. After a while, Yuna answers that she trusts herself more than God. The announcer thanks her as she enters the game. She opens her eyes and finds herself alone in a forest. She wonders how she has never seen this area before in the game. Just then, she looks down to see her armor but finds 2 sets of bear gloves. She nervously stands up to look at the bear set that she gained as a prize. She checks the stats to find out she is at level 1. Yuna starts screaming how she maxed out to gain her armor only to get stuck in this bear set. Just then, a notification from God appears telling her to enjoy the new world. He tells her to enjoy the world as her own and fall in love with it. She tries to log out, thinking it's a glitch, but suddenly a wolf approaches her. Yuna thinks how she has no equipment even if the wolf is for low rankers. She nervously grabs a random stick and throws it at the wolf, and that one stick is enough to get the wolf down. She thinks if the stick is some special item, but a cry for help attracts her attention. She looks at the NPC getting attacked by many wolves of the same rank. She throws a random rock at one, and it brings the wolf down with one attack. She thinks how she didn't even use that much force. She then approaches the NPC as the girl asks if Yuna is here to eat her since she is in a bear costume. Yuna takes her hood down and introduces herself to Fina. She thanks her for saving her life as Yuna smiles. Fina tells her that she left the town to grab herbs since her mother is sick and she doesn't have enough money to buy them. Yuna asks her to guide her to the town, thinking maybe there are other players in the town. Fina tells her to do something with the wolf since it will go to waste. She suggests that Yuna should dismantle it and sell the meat to make mana gems. Fina helps her dismantle the wolf as Yuna watches her. Yuna wonders when the game made this update. Yuna checks her level upgrade to level 3 and sees she got new skills. She finds out about the timeless dimension inside one of her white gloves resembling a white bear. Fina shows her the stuff as Yuna stores it inside the white glove. Fina takes her to Cremonia. The guard tells her to give 1 silver penny if she does not have any identification. The notification tells her about the transfer of real money, so she gives the guard a silver penny. They enter the Adventurers Guild as Uncle Gents gets surprised after watching Yuna in a bear costume. Fina tells him that she wants some items to sell as she tells him all about how she went into the forest to gather herbs and then Yuna helped her from the wolf. Gents scolds her for going there alone and thanks Yuna for saving her. He gives her 5 gold coins in exchange for the items. She gives half to Fina, who refuses since Yuna defeated the wolf, but Yuna still gives her money for her sick mother. She offers to show her the town and give money as guide fees. She looks over the town and sees how the town looks the same, but people and shops are unfamiliar and how everyone is staring at her. Fina tells her that she stands out because of her outfit. They eat at a popular inn as Yuna tells Fina to eat some steak. She refuses, saying she never tasted something like this and asks if she can take some bread home for her mother and sister. Yuna tells her to take whatever she likes. Then Yuna buys another set for Fina to take home. She goes away thanking her for the food. She goes to a hotel as the receptionist calls her cute. She asks for an empty room and checks in. She gets on the bed and sleeps. The next morning, she gets in front of the mirror thinking how she should accept reality because she is not her avatar but herself in the game. Then remembers the words of the person receiving her. She thinks about how she is not in a game but rather in a new world. She looks outside, thinking how nobody has tags on them indicating their status, then thinks how she doesn't have any reason to return to her old world and she should enjoy this rare chance. She goes into the forest and tries to use her new skills that she got after waking up. She starts roaming the new world and tests her new skills like fireball, water shoot, air cutter, and wall shield. She thinks about how she can use magic after imagining it. just like in a game. Then imagines a new skill as she destroys a rock with fire. Then imagines some weapons for herself that only work if she has the gloves on. Yuna meets Fina again as she welcomes her and asks if she is an adventurer. Fina says that since she is strong, she must be an adventurer. She asks if adventurers have to pay, but Fina tells her identity as an adventurer helps her get in and out of town for free. Fina tells her that Gents told her everything and she sometimes gets work from the dismantling guild. Yuna praises her for her dismantling skills at a young age. They reach the guild and approach the receptionist for an identification card as an adventurer. Just then, a big guy in armor interrupts her, saying a kid dressed up in a bear costume should not be an adventurer and that she'll lower the standards of the guild. The receptionist warns Deborah, saying she will report him if he causes some problems. But Deborah says how kids like her should go to their mother. Yuna asks if she should defeat a goblin to prove her strength, but Deborah mocks her again. Yuna turns towards the receptionist, asking if she can register to defeat the goblin talking to her, taking Deborah in shock. When he mocks her again, she asks if she made a mistake and instead he is a hobgoblin. It's hard to tell monsters apart. Deborah challenges her to a duel, but she defeats him with one bear punch, shocking everyone in the guild. Yuna then registers in the guild through a form and finally she gets her guild card. The receptionist tells her how gaining trust from other people and completing quests can lead her to have more importance. Yuna asks if there are any quests for a beginner. The receptionist tells her about the goblin and wolf hunt as she goes on to take the wolves. After a while, Yuna brings 40 wolves in total to the guild after defeating them. The receptionist gasps in surprise, asking if she did this all alone. Gents makes his way toward her, suggesting that she can trade the non-dismantled creatures in exchange for money. He tells her how he is an old friend of Fina's mom. He tells her Fina is doing everything to support her sister and mother, so he gives her dismantling jobs, but he isn't able to give more jobs because of the guild rules and suggests that she should hire Fina to do the dismantling for her monsters. Yuna agrees. She asks for more jobs since she needs some exercise before dinner. The receptionist tells her about an emergency quest about the tiger wolf, saying that it's a high-ranking monster. Yuna takes the job and defeats the tiger wolf in one go. But the wolf gets up and starts approaching the town. She gets up and starts running towards the wolf as the tiger wolf attacks Fina. Yuna attacks the wolf and kills it completely, then thinks about how she can't get any items from it now. Fina nervously tells her how she wanted to gain more for her mother but thanks her again. Fina starts crying as Yuna asks if she can make a contract with her and tells her about the suggestion. She tells her that they can work as partners. Yuna thinks how she is still a kid and still so dependable. Fina accepts her offer as she smiles at Yuna. Yuna rolls on the bed and wakes up. She looks outside the window, saying how it's going to be a good day today. She changes her clothes from her pajamas to the bear set. After that, she goes on the hunt as she takes down another pack of wolves easily, and Fina looks at her in shock. Yuna then offers the wolves to Fina to dismantle them. Fina does that with determination. One after another, she brings more advanced creatures for Fina to dismantle, but Fina apologizes, saying that these are too much. Gents informs Yuna that this is too much for Fina to do as she won't be able to finish this in one day. Fina says that she carefully does the job since Yuna is bringing them, so this ended up taking a lot longer than she expected. Yuna thinks Fina is so sweet. Gents says how the harvesting facility belongs to the general public, then looks over the crowd waiting for their turn. Yuna tells her to not worry about that. Yuna enters the guild as others around her talk about her being a bear. The people gossip about how she brought a pack of wolves and overloaded the harvesting facility, how she stands at the top of the food chain. Yuna thinks how rumors are getting exaggerated day by day. The receptionist calls her over as she tells her to stop her hunting in the Bearing Forest as it's the area for adventurers' hunting ground, and at this rate they won't have any prey. She asks if she is not a beginner adventurer, but the receptionist tells her that a budding adventurer wouldn't be able to hunt these wild creatures. She sits idly as one adventurer corners her, saying that she is the one who injured Mr. Deborah. She cluelessly asks who that is, to which the adventurer gets angry, telling her the one who she fought with yesterday. She remembers the goblin-looking adventurer. Gills comes from behind, taking Lance, the adventurer, away from her, telling him to stay away from her. Just then, a girl, Lorena, apologizes to Yuna on behalf of Lance's party. She tells her about the quest to hunt the goblin. She tells them with a flat face that she already defeated one goblin yesterday. Lance starts screaming again, telling her to not call that thing Deborah. Lorena says that he brought it upon himself. Gills calms him down. Just then, the receptionist tries to tell them about something, as Lorena tells her that they can't do much about the quest without Deborah since he has the main tank. Lance asks if they can forfeit the quest. The receptionist tells her that it would count as a fail. The party members start deciding and negotiating as Yuna makes her way towards home, but the receptionist points out, saying that Yuna has a tank. She tells Lorena that this is the last time she is helping them, then tells her to go away since she prefers hunting solo, but Lorena insists on coming along. She asks if they will be fine on the quest, as a pack of goblins can be dangerous. As they reach the mountain, she tells them that they should hurry to make the trip in one day. She meekly moves towards taking Lorena in her arms as she jumps towards the mountain to make the trip short. She locates the goblins using bear sense and finds out that there are more than 50. Yuna uses her powers and seals the cave, saying that goblins will suffocate to death. Lorena tells her to take the mana stones out of them as proof. Yuna tells her that she is still a beginner. Yuna leaves the harvesting to Lorena as she watches her from behind. She senses something, telling that there is still one alive and stronger. Lorena says that it must be the Goblin King. Suddenly, the ceiling stone starts to crack as Lorena suggests that they should call for backup, forcing Yuna to cancel the seal. The Goblin King approaches them as Yuna hides Lorena and fights off the Goblin King, dodging its attack as she attacks him. After a strong attack, she finally takes down the Goblin King using Bear Cutter. Lorena tells her that it's best to take the corpse with them. As Yuna takes the corpse in her bear space. As they make their way inside the cave to hunt more goblins, they make their way outside after harvesting all the goblins. As Lorena comes outside, she finds Yuna sleeping in her makeshift room. Lorena wakes her up. Yuna cancels the home and says that they should go home now. Lorena says that she is tired. Yuna moves towards her with the same expression as her. She holds her up in her arms and runs towards the town. They show the Goblin King's corpse to the guild, shocking the whole guild. The receptionist examines the stones, announcing that the hunt was complete. She tells that she has nothing for the goblin and turns towards Lance, asking if she has more to prove her strength. She tells them that she has nothing to do with their party, but Lance stops her as he apologizes for his mistake. Yuna accepts their apology. She looks over her status board and summons the bear. Meanwhile, a black beast makes his way towards her as she gets on the beast and orders the beast to move and finds it fluffy. She comes along another wild creature as she gets ready to fight it, but the summoned bear comes in front of her and fights the wild creature. She summons another one. This one turns out to be white, but this one starts sulking. She starts explaining to him, saying she didn't mean to ignore him. She makes her way home on the white bear to make it stop sulking. She names the bears and tells Fina about them. Fina moves towards them to touch them, finding them cute. Yuna thinks about how she feels like an elder sister to Fina. They rest after a full day of harvesting. They move towards the merchant guild. She asks to rent some land. She tells her all about the lands and their prices. She settles on the land as the receptionist asks if she is Yuna, the famous adventurer, then shows her appreciation as the merchant guild. Fina tells her how they sell their items to the merchant guild. The receptionist offers to lower the price of the land. She tells her that she personally wants to be close to her. She introduces herself as Myron. They make their way towards the place, and Yuna imagines all the essential things a house would need and makes a beautiful house and gives Fina her own harvesting facility. Fina thanks her a lot as she starts crying. Yuna hugs her. Everyone starts admiring the Black Viper's corpse as Jens announces to start harvesting it, then instructs them to cut the snake into 10 parts, then further continue with the process. Fina admires the Black Viper, remembering the time when Yuna saved her from the wolf, how she defeated the wild creatures and built an amazing house for her. Jens gently teaches her how to cut through the viper's thick skin. Fina admires Yuna as she starts cutting through the thick skin. Yuna starts adding furniture and shoos the people away from her house. Just then Fina comes along, telling her about their complete harvesting of the Black Viper. Fina admires the furniture and gives her the hug with the mana gem from the viper. Yuna looks at the cut on Fina's hand and asks about it. She takes Fina's hand and imagines how to heal the wound, and after a while heals her hand. Fina thanks her again and suggests her to take a break tomorrow from harvesting. Fina tells her Helen's wish to see her at the guild tomorrow. Yuna says that it should not be something annoying. The next day Helen tries to stop her as Yuna tries to get away from her. The guild master approaches them. Helen tells him how Yuna is refusing to meet Lord Cliff Fasheros. Yuna says it can't be a normal request. She says the lord might lock her up since the nobles lock away and kill people they dislike and take money from the commoners. But the guild master interrupts her, telling her to go upon his command. He tells her how Cliff is an amazing lord. Helen asks again, saying it will affect the guild's trust. She finally says yes. Fina looks at her sick mother, telling her sister she will be back with medicines. Yuna reaches the lord's room as she introduces herself. He tells how he has heard about her and how she defeated wild creatures. She asks what's the matter, to which Cliff tells her how he wanted to meet her and his daughter is particularly interested in seeing her in the cute outfit walking around. Yuna argues. Just then the gate opens as a little girl enters the room and introduces herself as Noir to Yuna. Yuna does the same. She tells how much she wanted to meet Yuna and asks to hug her, then proceeds to give Yuna a warm hug, calling her warm. Yuna tells her about her adventures as Noah shows her similar interest in the adventures, and eventually she runs out of adventures to tell her. Noah tells how she doesn't think she's lying. Noah requests to see her summon bears as Yuna shows her that next. Yuna tells how they're not dangerous and Noah runs towards them. She also shows her how to ride on them. Cliff comes along as Yuna asks if she should trust Noah that much. Cliff tells how his daughter seems to believe in Yuna and asks if he can ride the bears as well. Then both father and daughter take a ride on the bears. Noah finally falls asleep as Cliff tells her about His Majesty's 40th birthday celebration next month, and asks if he could take the mana gem from the Black Viper to impress the king, and will compensate the amount, but Yuna refuses, saying that she likes to hold it for a while, then offers the sword she took from the Goblin King and gives it to him. Cliff says how it's a rare item and asks for the price. Yuna thinks for a while then says that she would give the sword for free in exchange for a favor. She tells him to help in case she finds herself in something troublesome. Cliff asks if that is all she wants, then promises her to help whenever she needs it. Fina runs along the streets to help her mother. Yuna tries to leave as Noah asks if she could spend the night. Yuna promises to visit again and then makes her way to the town, but the rain starts to pour. She finds Fina on her doorstep. She approaches her, but Fina turns around saying that her mom is sick, saying that the medicine is not working and she does not know what to do. Yuna visits Fina's home and sees Tiermina, Fina's mother, in critical condition. Jens comes along telling that he couldn't find some new medicine. The kids start crying seeing their mother in this condition. Yuna thinks how she can probably heal her with her magic, then concentrates on imagining how to heal her. She tries her spell on Tiermina as she opens her eyes, regaining consciousness, but then trembles in pain again. Yuna thinks about how the illness isn't fully gone. Tiermina gets up telling Yuna that she heard a lot about her from Fina, telling her to rest. She asks her children to come closer to her as she admires their faces, then apologizes, saying that she couldn't do much for them, telling them that she loves them a lot. Yuna watches the scene thinking how she cannot give up and tries her magic trick again, but it doesn't work much. Tiermina thanks Yuna for letting her see her children for the last time. Yuna says how this isn't the last time, and tries to imagine the healing power in depth and full detail as it strengthens her spell. She thinks how she should imagine the source of illness to vanish instead of trying to heal her, and finally imagines it, trying the spell on her. Tiermina opens her eyes saying that it doesn't hurt anymore. Everyone asks if she truly is okay and she tells them how it doesn't hurt to breathe anymore. She gets up on her feet as her children hug her. Jens cries a little while hugging her. Yuna instructs her to keep everything light and rest. Fina introduces her little sister Shuri to her. As Yuna tells her that she dresses up as a bear as her hobby, Fina tells Shuri how Yuna is her lifesaver. Yuna says how Fina saved her life too and how she continuously helps her. Shuri excitedly asks if she can hug her and Yuna lets her. Jens says how he will pay her back for Tiermina's treatment and if it isn't enough he will borrow money and then pay her. But Tiermina says how she can't burden him anymore and she will make sure to pay her. Fina also says that she will pay her fully. Yuna thinks about how they are making her feel like she is the villain here. Yuna tells them how she doesn't want any money and how she treated Tiermina because of Fina, saying that she was happy helping them for free. Fina sincerely thanks her as Yuna thinks protecting their smiles is more important than the money. Shuri hugs Tiermina as Fina stops her, saying that their mom needs to rest, but their mother interjects, saying that she needs to move her body in some way, so it's fine. Yuna says for that she has to eat well, something like eggs. The three of them start fantasizing about runny, soft, and delicious eggs. Fina tells her how it's so hard to find eggs in Cremonia. Yuna thinks about that at night, how eggs are rare in this world as an ingredient, then remembers the village where Zuyu offered her eggs. She thinks about how she could make the journey there fast since she wants to eat eggs as well. She looks at her status board thinking if she got new skills from defeating the Black Viper, then finds out about the bear transfer gate. Yuna visits Kai's town, thinking how she bid him farewell but she is back here again. Kai tells her how she is welcome anytime and gives her a basket full of eggs. Yuna tells him that she will be back to buy more from him again very soon. Kai informs her how he can't take money from someone who saved his village. Yuna teaches him how these two are two different things and how matters with money can't be handled lightly. Saying that, she goes along to the town. Kai notices how Yuna is going by her feet rather than her bears. Yuna enters a cave, saying how no people and monsters wander this area, and then activates her bear gate there. She opens the gate to her home in a second and greets Fina. Fina greets her back, showing the harvesting for today. Yuna praises her for improvement in Fina's skills and gives the basket of eggs to her as a little bonus. Fina refuses profusely, but Yuna insists, saying that her mother needs them for nutrition. Fina tells her that she can't accept something so expensive. Yuna tells how the expenses are because of its careful travel rather than the egg's actual price, and since there was no transportation involved. These are free. Yuna shows the gate to Fina as they enter the part of town in a second. Fina gets surprised. Yuna tells how she can go anywhere just by imagining the place where she wants to go. The only annoying part is that she has to install the gate first. She asks if Fina knows any instant transportation spells. Fina refuses, saying this is the first time she is seeing this type of magic. Yuna instructs her to stay quiet since she is the only one who knows about this trick. Yuna wanders around the town, thinking of all the ingredients she still hasn't found here, like rice and soy sauce. She buys the regular from one vendor. Her gaze travels to the children looking sad, standing in a corner. She asks about them from the vendor, as the vendor lady tells her about these children being orphans from the outskirts of the town and how they come here often for customers' leftovers. She asks if the town doesn't help them with money and food. The vendor tells her how things have been tight lately. She tells the vendor to make 30 more orders, but the vendor tells her not to show them one-time good, and how that won't be good for either party, but eventually gives in. Yuna gives the meals to the children and follows them to the orphanage. The kids all thank her in unison as she instructs them to enjoy the meal. The director thanks her as Yuna stops her and asks about the financial situation of the orphanage instead. She tells how the money from the Lord stopped coming a few months ago, saying that money is being wasted on unproductive facilities. So they've been collecting leftover food from the town to feed the children. Yuna transforms the whole facility using her imaginative magic, makes the beds, and provides meat for the children. As the director thanks her for that, she tells how all the food is her leftover from hunting a lot of wolves anyway. anyway. The children all start to gather around her and thank her earnestly. They bid her farewell. Yuna thinks about when the director asks for her reason to help them. Yuna told her how children deserve to be happy and she's an acquaintance with the Lord, so she'll file a complaint or else she'll resort to violence. The director tells how this can affect their living on the land for free. Yuna thinks about how she wants to punch Lord Cliff even more now. Fina tells her how her mom is moving freely now and how she is looking for a new job. Fina tells how it could be helpful if everyone in the town would be able to buy eggs. Just then, an idea pops in Yuna's head. Yuna immediately goes and buys some land and accommodates the chickens from Kai's village to Cremonia. The next day, Yuna brings Tiermina along where she had made a home for chickens. She tells how she is bringing them news of a new job at Hello Work. She tells the children to take care of the birds and how the children should make them happy and look after them properly. The director asks if she is trying to run the orphanage by making profits from selling eggs, and Yuna tells how raising them will increase their population day by day. Tiermina asks what they would do if the prices go down. Yuna tells her how it is a huge advantage for the orphanage that way. She leaves the rest of the orphanage as the children all promise her to take care of the chickens to save their orphanage. The director thanks her as she makes Tiermina the representative and tells them to ask her if something is wrong. She says that Tiermina will be perfect for the job. As time goes by, Yuna builds a better home and coop for the chickens as eggs get sold at a rapid speed and children look after them. The town now enjoys the luxury of eggs. Yuna agrees to meet Lord Cliff as he asks the heavy question as to why she is not selling eggs to his family. He tells her that he confirmed from the merchant guild that Yuna told them to not sell eggs to the family directly. Yuna tells him that because the orphanage is producing the eggs, and because he stopped helping the orphanage because of his selfish reasons, she instructed them to not sell the eggs to him, saying that she will never forgive him for doing such things. She tells how the children had to suffer in the streets and look for leftovers, and now eggs are helping them, and now Cliff is here to ask for his share. That surprises Cliff as he tells her to wait, but Yuna doesn't listen. Cliff goes back, apologizing, saying they will meet some other day. Cliff orders his servant to look into what is happening with the orphanage's funds quickly and find the person who made him look evil. They locate the person named Ence Roland who has been embezzling funds for the orphanage. It also appears that many funds from the town's sectors are being embezzled. Cliff says how he should have paid more attention and how this is all his fault, and orders to bring Ence to him. Ence appears, pretending that everything is normal. Cliff tells him to stop saying empty words and asks about his embezzlement. Ence says how the orphanage is making way more than before, so they should be fine if they don't get the money, and it would be helpful if he gets even a bigger budget. Cliff tells how he is finding evidence of his crimes in his mansion. Ence starts bad-mouthing him as Cliff resorts to violence. Cliff personally goes to the orphanage, making them aware of the whole situation about the embezzlement of the facility's funds, and apologizes. He promises that something like this would never happen again. The director tells how they no longer need any funds from him and how Yuna has helped them enough. He also thanks Yuna, saying that he will take care of the building renovation. Yuna rolls in her bed thinking how she made Cliff look evil in front of his people without further research, and how embarrassed she is. Fina makes her understand how she helped the children and townspeople to have eggs. Jens finally asks Tiermina to marry him, promising that he would do anything in his power to support and protect the Tree of Tem. After a second, Tiermina says yes as Fina and Shuri come tumbling along from the door, listening to their conversation and hug their mom. Yuna also congratulates the new couple as Jens also promises her to take care of them. Yuna sits at her home thinking how it's such a good thing to have Jens protecting them. Just then, Fina comes bursting through the door saying that Tiermina is breaking up with Jens. She tells about their fight from the morning when Tiermina tells Jens to not put a lot of ketchup on his egg even if it's to his liking, just like he puts a lot of butter in his steak. She says how his negative habits can also affect her girls in a negative way. Jens also argues, saying how she should be able to handle his habits and how she also puts honey in her toast. Tiermina argues that she's just thinking about his health and if they're going to be like this then they should think about this situation. Yuna assures Fina saying they've known each other for a long time since they've been adventurers for a long time so they should be fine. Fina still tells her about the snow crystal that they found in their young years and if they could find that, they would be able to make them remember their old days. Yuna asks to bring Shuri along as well. As they make their way towards the forest with Shuri and Yuna on Kumauru and Kumakyo, Shuri embraces all the challenges with her childish habits as Fina looks after her. Yuna thinks how Shuri is much braver than Fina at such a young age. Shuri also helps Fina to go through a broken bridge as Yuna thinks how close they are as siblings. Once they reach the place, they find it all green without any snow. The sisters, determined to find the crystal, try their best to find the crystal, but when the sun goes down, Fina calls out to Shuri that it's time to go home without the crystal. Shuri says that she will look for it one more time but instead finds an injured bird with bright blue color jumbled in vines. Fina helps Shuri to let the bird get out as the bird flies, leaving one of its feathers as a gift for Shuri. Fina suggests that she should give the feather as a present for Jens and their mom. Once they reach the home, they look from the window how both adults are still not talking, but once they get inside, they greet them and ask where they've been gone. The kids ask if they're still fighting, to which the adults just laugh. Shuri gives them the feather as Tiermina starts tearing up. telling them how Roy, their father, had the feather as his luck charm and wore this as an accessory. Jen says how Roy gave their blessing and assured the girls. He hugs them, promising to take care of his health and his family's health. Yuna shows the girls how to make pudding using eggs as they ponder over how eggs can be used in both sweet and savory dishes. Yuna appreciates their efforts as the girls enjoy a full day with Yuna. Fina tells them how she wants to go explore the world even more, like she did today with Shuri, and one day they could be like their parents. The next day, Yuna distributes the extra pudding that she made to the whole town, also giving them to Noah as Cliff asks for her favor to tag along with Noah to the capital. By the time Yuna arrives at Noah's place along with Fina, Noah is already waiting for her outside the house. Cliff tells Yuna about Noah's excitement, which makes her shy, and he laughs about it. Before leaving for his work, he entrusts Noah to Yuna for her safe arrival to the royal capital, and Yuna assures him of that. Cliff notices Fina and asks about her, to which Yuna asks if it's okay for her to come along. Cliff permits, but Noah steps towards Fina and tells her that she is not going to lose the bear to Fina. However, as they get along, Noah realizes there are two bears, so she and Fina get on Kumeuru, and Yuna gets on Kumakyu. Noah and Fina get along with each other pretty well along the way, and they ask each other and Kumeuru to take care of them. On their way, they come across 3 wolves, whom Yuna knocks down using her powers, and Fina takes on the duty to harvest them later. Noah gets surprised at the word harvest and asks about how they know each other. Yuna and Fina tell her how the two of them have saved each other in the woods at some point, so Fina helps Yuna harvest the monster after Yuna has defeated it. When Noah finds out that the two of them are close friends and Fina has been to several places with Kumaruyu and Kumakyu, she's devastated and tells Fina that she's her bear rival. As they resume their journey, Noah tells Fina about her mother and sister living in the royal capital, and asks if she has ever been there. When Fina affirms, Noah tells her about it being lively on His Majesty's birthday celebration. Soon they arrive at a place, and Yuna asks Kumeuru and Kumakyu to stop and rest there. Noah asks if they're pitching tents, but Yuna conjures up a travel-sized bear house and tells Noah to keep it a secret. Yuna prepares them hamburg steak, which Noah loves a bit too much. Noah and Fina ask Yuna to teach them the recipe too, so she promises to do so. The next day, they encounter monsters attacking a carriage, so Yuna kills the monsters. The old man and the girl thank Yuna and feel confused by her clothes. Noah runs over to them and introduces the man as Count Gran Faringram and the girl as his granddaughter, Miss A, and introduces Yuna as her escort. After knowing that they're all going to the royal capital, Count Gran asks Yuna to let them come along, and he'll pay for escort services. She asks about Count Gran's own escorts, to which he replies that it's better to be careful since there's an unusual appearance of monsters here. Yuna puts it up to Noah to decide, and she agrees to Missa and Count Gran coming along. They arrive at the bear capital, and people are astonished to see bears. Missa and Count Gran go their way after thanking Yuna, and as soon as the 3 of them step inside the boundary of the palace, Noah's mother runs over to her. They all get inside, and Noah's mother introduces herself as Elilora, so Yuna and Fina introduce themselves too. Yuna conjures up the box of the sword of a goblin king and tells Elilora that Cliff asked her to give it to Elilora so she can present it as a gift to His Majesty. Yuna then hands Elilora a letter that tells her she needs to be careful around Yuna. When Elilora asks Yuna to tell about herself, Noah starts praising Yuna instead. Shia, Noah's sister, returns home from school, excited to see her sister. But when she sees Noah and her mother riding the bears and Yuna dressed as a bear, she gets scared. They calm her down and explain everything to her, but she refuses to believe that Yuna can be an escort or an adventurer and calls her a young child. Therefore, Elilora put them in a spar with wooden swords. When Yuna wins easily, Shia asks for another spar, and Yuna keeps defeating her in every spar. Shia finally accepts Yuna's strength, while Elilora asks Yuna of her age, which turns out to be 15. As Shia realizes that they're of the same age, Elilora tells her that she asked for the spar so she could help Shia get over her overconfidence. Yuna and Fina go out to explore the royal capital while Noah has to go and greet the other nobles. They feel bad about Noah missing out on the fun but decide to not ruin their moods and explore the place. After some time, Fina starts to get nauseous due to the increasing crowd, so Yuna suggests eating something. She smells some fresh bread in the air, so they grab some bread to eat, which they find so delicious that they decide to explore the market. Yuna buys a lot of potatoes and cheese, and they realize these aren't popular here. Fina says that because of the great celebration, merchants must have come from various places, and this made Yuna want to stay in the market for longer. Yuna makes hamburgers and French fries for dinner, and the family looks surprised. At first, Shia and Elilora refuse to eat it using their hands, but after seeing Fina's reaction, they eat it right away and find it quite delicious. Yuna realizes how she can even make pizza from the cheese. But they get confused, so she explains to them what a pizza is and how it is prepared. The 4 of them request Yuna to make it, so she promises to make it for the next day. Elilora suggests Yuna open a restaurant, which reminds her of Million's suggestion about it too when she once brought her something to eat. Yuna tells Elilora that it'd be too hectic for her to cook for many people, and she likes to eat more than to cook. A man is brought in front of the king, questioning the problem with using prisoners for the sake of science. He keeps on yelling about it until he is exiled by the king's order. Yuna makes the pizza and calls all the girls. Bewitched by the smell of it, they ask to eat, so Yuna instructs them to eat it with their hands and tells them to be aware of it being hot. As soon as they all take the first bite from their slices, they start talking about how good potatoes taste with cheese. Ellalora arrives there too, asking what they are up to. When she sees the pizza, she quickly tries some and likes it so much that she again recommends Yuna start a business, which makes Yuna feel flattered. Noah comes to Yuna and asks her if she can borrow Fina for tomorrow, and at the mention of her name, Fina gets surprised. Noah clarifies that it is something for which she needs her along with Miss A. Yuna gives permission to them, but when she asks about their errand, Noah claims it to be a secret. Yuna realizes that with the three of them gone for the errand and Shia for the academy, she'd be left alone. Ellalora suggests she visit the castle in that case. Yuna arrives just outside the castle tower with Ellalora and is already fascinated by its surreal beauty. She asks Ellalora if it is fine for her to get inside being an outsider, so Ellalora assures her it is fine since she is accompanied by Ellalora. After Ellalora informs the guests about Yuna's identity, they let them in. As they step inside, the maids and guards bow in respect to greet Ellalora, which makes Yuna curious about her job there. Upon asking, Ellalora replies that she gives orders to the commander of the knights, manages documents, and sometimes gives out advice to his majesty, and so on. She further tells about her wish to go back to Cliff and live with him. However, his majesty and the prime ministers do not let her go. Yuna realizes that Ellalora is on an important post when suddenly a little girl happily runs to her and clings onto her leg, thinking she is an actual bear. Upon asking, Yuna gets to know that she is Princess Flora, so when Flora says she wants to show Yuna around the castle, Yuna panics, saying they cannot make a princess do that for them, but Flora almost cries, so Yuna agrees to it. Yuna and Flora spend the day together doing various activities along with Ellalora until Yuna starts missing the girls. Missa and Noah befriend Fina along their way to their destination. After they arrive there, Noah receives the box of Miss Bear Fan Club, which she's requested, and they all take one card. Noah becomes the president while Fina becomes the vice president. Noah then announces that they should share all information about the Kumeru and Kumakyu and instructs them to keep the fan club a secret from Yuna. Yuna returns to Fina's place and sees Shia practicing hard with the sword to improve her skills, so she offers to be her sparring partner, but she tells her to be there for her later when she's ready. Yuna then walks inside the house and witnesses the three girls having their fan club meeting, so she asks them about it, but Noah quickly hides the papers. Yuna visits the market the next day with Noah and Fina, where they come across rumors of people getting injured near the northern forest. One of the merchants tells the girls about such increasing incidents, which reminds Yuna of the attack on Miss A's carriage. Noah gets worried about her father arriving later in the day through that passage, so Yuna offers to escort him and heads off. Ellalora goes to the king and requests to inspect the forest due to such arising incidents. Suddenly, a hooded person forcefully enters the king's room and introduces himself as Gulzam, a person who was exiled from the kingdom. He then confesses to being behind the monster attacks in the forest and claims it to be revenge against the king, saying there are about 10,000 such monsters under his control through magic. After he disappears, the king tells Ellalora that Gulzam was a royal magician who sacrificed criminals for his research. He then orders her to contact the master of the Adventurers Guild, Sanya. Upon arriving at the forest, Yuna finds a lot of monsters in the area, so she decides to kill them all. Sanya, while examining the forest remotely through an eagle, informs the king about a fast-moving bear riding another bear in the forest. Yuna, along with Kumakyu and Kumeru, defeats all the monsters until Gulzam appears in front of them. After lashing out at Yuna verbally, Gulzam falls to the ground spitting blood. Sanya informs us that the magic he used was a forbidden one, which has cost him his life. Suddenly, another huge monster appears, but Yuna kills it easily along with Gulzam. Ellalora reveals Yuna's identity to the king and Sanya, while Yuna explains the situation to Cliff and asks him to turn in Gulzam without mentioning Yuna, saying he found him lying in the forest while Yuna hides the monsters in her item bag. As soon as they arrive at the palace, Ellalora quickly drags Yuna with her to the king. After she's brought in front of the king, she refuses to be the one who killed the monsters and Gulzam, but Sanya confirms her identity, so Cliff confirms too. The king bows to thank Yuna, which makes her realize how the nobles of this world are so much different from what she had imagined. When the king announces to reward her along with a public announcement, she panics and quickly refuses, saying she did all that to make her friend stop worrying about her father's safety. On the birthday celebration of the king, he has made Yuna prepare 200 servings of pudding for the celebration, which everyone likes a lot. After the party is over, Fina and Yuna stay at the bear house, where Missa and Noah come over sometimes. Yuna and Shia now spar with each other before tea time, and to the bear house, everyone comes by, even Princess Flora and His Majesty. One day over tea, Yuna asks Fina if they should return to Cremonia, which makes Fina sad since the two of them have not had fun together alone for some time, so she says that she wants to go out with Yuna before they return. Yuna agrees with Fina, and they go to the marketplace together to buy souvenirs for everyone. They enjoy delicious snacks, and Yuna buys a lot of bakery goods for the orphanage. While they rest at a hill, Fina asks Yuna about her opinion on opening a shop. to which Yuna replies that it would be too troublesome for her to cook a large amount every day even though she likes to cook. In addition to that, she is afraid that she won't be able to go on adventures after opening a shop. This makes Fina realize that she'd also lose her harvesting job, so she agrees with Yuna's decision. After getting hungry, they head to the bakery they got bread from a few days back. After getting there, they discover that the shop has permanently shut down, which makes them surprised. The shop owner, Morin, walks out, and upon getting asked, she tells about how she failed to pay back her debt, which she took from a shady place, and is losing the shop. While the woman is telling about how she even lost her husband to overwork in order to pay the debt, her daughter, Karin, storms out of the shop, saying she won't let the shop go. Seeing their situation, Yuna gets an idea and calls them over to the bear house. Morin and Karin prepare pizzas, pudding, and hamburgers with the recipe provided by Yuna. They all take bites from their food and find it extremely delicious, while Fina gets surprised at how their cooking tastes even tastier than Yuna's. Thus, Yuna offers Morin and Karin to work in her shop. Morin seems to hesitate at first due to lack of trust, but when Yuna gives them the bag of gold coins for travel and preparation costs and tells them that she wants them to come to Cremonia to her shop, Morin asks why Yuna's being so generous. She replies that she wants to eat more of her delicious cooking, and this makes Morin accept her offer on Karin's insistence. After saying goodbye to all, Yuna and Fina, along with the bears, leave for Cremonia. Yuna goes to Mylene to buy a place for her shop along with Tiermina, who will manage the shop. After Yuna selects a place, Mylene decides to go look at the place with Tiermina. When Morin and Karin arrive at Cremonia, Yuna takes them to the shop, excited about the place, but gets shocked after seeing a huge palace-like building. Yuna shows them around while telling them it was a mansion of a noble. After telling them that there'll be more staff helping them out, Yuna tells them to go rest on the second floor, which is their new living space. The next day, Yuna brings a lot of young girls as staff to help out. While Karin and Morin instruct them, Yuna builds necessary things around the shop using her magic. After they are done with the day, Mylene asks Yuna to come up with a name for her shop to be registered at the Merchant Guild. She asks the staff for suggestions, and they all give names starting with Bear, which annoys Yuna. On top of that, Mylene says she has arranged uniforms for the staff, and contrary to Yuna's idea of a uniform, Mylene pulls out bear costumes. This again annoys Yuna, however, the staff loves it a bit too much, except for Karin, who feels ashamed about wearing one. Fina enters the shop and is surprised to see them all in bear costumes. Yuna asks for her help to come up with a name, but Fina's first thought is also Bear Shop, saying it looks similar to the Bear House. Therefore, the name of the shop is decided to be Bear Haven, and bear-themed cutlery is arranged. The opening day turns out to be pretty crowded and busy due to Millions advertising and the kids' enthusiasm to see the bear. All the staff and Yuna help out with serving and takeout in order to manage the never-ending line of customers. With the last customer gone, everything gets sold, and the staff slumps down onto chairs with tiredness, and Morin brings over a bowl of pudding for all of them to enjoy. Noah and Cliff walk into the shop, and Cliff tells Yuna about the interest rate on the debt on Morin being illegally exorbitant, so he punished them according to the law and hands Yuna the loan documents. Yuna shows it to Morin and Karin, telling them they can reopen a shop in the royal capital, but they seem to be worried about this shop. Yuna assures that she'll find someone else for this place, but Morin and Karin decide to stay here to serve the customers, saying this place is as precious to them as the previous one was. At night, Yuna stands outside the bear house and thinks about the nice people she has met in this world and all the friends she has made along the way. She wakes up happily in the morning, and after having breakfast, she walks out of her house. People are happy to see her around, and while waving to them along her way, she arrives at the Adventurers Guild to get a new quest for the day. Fina sits quietly in her room, the wooden floor beneath her feet cool to the touch. The gentle ticking of a nearby clock is the only sound in the stillness until her phone buzzes to life. She picks it up with a small smile. Yuna is calling. Her voice brings a bit of warmth, even though she's far away, traversing a snowy mountain pass. Fina listens with concern as Yuna describes the storm, but the confidence in her tone is enough to settle Fina's nerves. Yuna had been thinking a lot lately about everything this new world had offered: magical beasts, thrilling quests, good friends, and wonderful food. But she realized something was missing: seafood. Not dried or preserved, but fresh, ocean-caught seafood. Driven by this craving, she inquired about nearby port towns. One name came up: Milila, a town not too far from Cremonia but isolated by a treacherous mountain path few dared to cross. Most wouldn't consider the journey in the dead of winter, but Yuna, accompanied by her loyal bears Kumeuru and Kumaku, had no reason to hesitate. The snowstorm slowed her progress, but her resolve didn't waver. It was on this path that she came across a half-buried couple, frost clinging to their clothes, their bodies frail and near collapse. Without hesitation, she rescued them and learned they were from Milila, returning from a failed attempt to find food in Cremonia. Their story painted a grim picture. Milila had once relied on the bounty of its rivers and ocean, but an aquatic monster had taken control of the waters. Fish became scarce, and only the most daring fishermen could attempt to catch. Most failed. Without consistent food supplies, many had left the town, while those who stayed behind were starving. No help had arrived from other towns, as Milila wasn't part of any formal alliance or trade route. It was as if they'd been forgotten. The couple asked Yuna to escort them back home. She agreed without hesitation. With the help of her bears, the journey through the snowy mountains was fast and safe. As they crossed the last ridge, a cold wind rolled down from the sea, and the fishing town of Milila came into view. But what should have been a lively coastal village looked more like a ghost town. Once they stepped through the gates, the full weight of the town's suffering hit Yuna. The streets were quiet, lined with people too tired to speak or move. Thin, hollow-eyed villagers wandered around slowly, bundled in worn clothes that did little to block out the cold. Many of them looked too weak to work or even stand straight. Children sat on doorsteps with blank stares, too hungry to cry. Shops were boarded up, some long abandoned, others barely open, their shelves empty. The town square, which might have once been filled with the noise of sellers and buyers, now held only a few desperate voices. A small group of people huddled around a wooden cart where 5 tiny fish were being sold. Arguments broke out over the price. Some shouted in anger, others in fear. The fish were old and barely enough to feed one person, yet the merchant demanded gold as if they were rare treasures. Yuna watched the scene in silence. It wasn't just the hunger. It was the look in their eyes, that dull, hollow expression of people who had been pushed too far for too long. The local guild, skeptical at first, hesitated to accept such a large meat donation, thousands of servings from wolves Yuna had defeated on past hunts. Eventually, an agreement was made to distribute a portion of it daily. The villagers received food for the first time in weeks. Gratitude poured through the streets like sunlight after a long storm. But not everyone was pleased. The Merchant Guild, who had kept a stranglehold over Milila's resources, saw Yuna's interference as a threat to their control. Yuna, unfazed, turned her attention to the sea. Her craving for seafood was still unresolved, but more importantly, the creature lurking beneath the waves had robbed the town of its lifeline. The guild explained the monster was massive, larger than anything the town had ever faced, and immune to most forms of attack. It lived in the water, rendering traditional fire magic nearly useless. Many had tried and failed to kill it. She tested her own magic near the shoreline, watching fire sputter out just above the waves. The ocean was calm that day, mocking her efforts. Frustrated but not discouraged, she returned to the inn to rest. Night came, and the bears stirred her from slumber. Something was off. Her alarm system confirmed it. Intruders had broken through her magical barrier. 2 men lurked outside her door, unaware of the fury awaiting them. Before they could react, giant bear paws slammed them into the ground, knocking them out cold. Yuna interrogated them swiftly. The intruders were part of a group known as the Band of Thieves, sent by someone within the Merchant Guild to steal her magical items. She extracted their hideout's location, and without waiting for dawn, stormed the place herself. The hideout turned out to be a seedy building near the edge of town. The thieves, lounging and laughing, never saw the storm coming. A single knock on the door was followed by an explosive burst of magic. Smoke and flame engulfed the area as the 2 bear familiars charged in, scattering the gang like frightened animals. Yuna cleared the hideout in minutes, leaving the place in ruins. The incident sent shockwaves through the town. Some feared retaliation, but the villagers, especially those who had received her help, began to believe real change was possible. The balance of power had shifted. Yuna knew this was only the beginning. The creature in the sea still loomed, and the merchants were far from defeated. But for now, Milila had hope kindled by a bear-clad girl who had come searching for seafood, only to find something more important waiting for her, people worth protecting. As she gazed out over the quiet ocean that evening, the scent of salt and wind in the air, she reflected on how far she'd come. And though the monster still waited in the deep, her determination burned hotter than ever. The next morning, pale sunlight filtered through the guild hall's tall windows as Yuna entered, her bears following silently. A line of exhausted men, members of the Band of Thieves, stood before the guild master, bound and subdued. Yuna's steps were steady, her exhaustion clear in the slight slump of her shoulders. She had spent the night chasing these men, preventing them from stealing the town's food. Their captured expressions reflected confusion and shame. Their presence was proof of the merchants' cruelty. Yuna had watched them plotting in the shadows, laughing about how they would smuggle supplies out of the town under the cover of darkness. When she had tracked them down, fatigue washed over her fully, but she refused to relent. By sunrise, their plans lay in ruins. The guildmaster moved among the prisoners, inspecting confiscated goods, noting empty sacks and stolen coins. Yuna lingered near the doorway, listening to the quiet discussion. Her exhaustion pulled at her eyelids. Even her bears looked ready to collapse. The master paused, then nodded at Yuna, gratitude clear in her eyes. Together, they turned the thieves over to the guards, their work drawing a line beneath the town's suffering. News of the thieves' capture reached the merchant's palace. The chief merchant panicked upon hearing that his band was in custody. In a frenzied scramble, he grabbed sacks from the storeroom, gold, spices, strong liquor, preparing to flee. Guards intercepted him by the exit, and soon he too was bound and led away. The guildmaster and the guards had the evidence of his plotting. The town's eyes followed as he was taken. Within the guild hall, murmurs of admiration arose. Yuna, still pale and fatigued, managed a small nod of acknowledgement. She retreated quietly, her muscles aching. Sleep was a promise she would soon claim. Later that morning, after a long, much-needed rest, Yuna emerged for a late breakfast at the inn. The chef awaited her, offering a simple meal, freshly caught fish, warm miso soup, and steamed rice with soy sauce. The humble plate seemed to glow in her hands. One taste and a single, silent tear escaped, merging balancing gratitude with relief. Broken yet hopeful, she continued eating, savoring each bite and letting the comfort sink in. During her meal, Yuna's thoughts drifted to the kraken that terrorized the waters, the monster that deprived Melila of its livelihood. She envisioned strategies, floating barriers, baited traps, magical heat lines, anything to weaken the creature. Sleep deprived, she felt ideas falling apart in her mind. Her visions of complex traps turned silly and incomplete. A deep breath anchored her. Rest, she realized, would sharpen her resolve. That evening, she accepted an invitation from Damon's family. They prepared a hearty fish hot pot, simmering with vegetables and local broth. The warmth in that small home filled both her belly and spirit. As she shared their modest meal, her mind hummed with plans not of confrontation, but of care and renewal. If she could win this battle, the children could laugh again. The fishermen would return, the market stalls would fill with food. Dawn after dawn blended into preparation. Brave and resolute, Yuna stood at the shoreline before sunrise, the salty wind tangling in her hair and tugging at her cloak. The bears flanked her silently, eyes sharp and alert. With steady hands, she secured a thick rope, anchoring it tightly between the strongest coastal trees and stretching it out toward the sea, marking the battlefield. It wasn't just a rope, it was a line of defense, a trap, a last stand. She baited the water by tossing a steaming, magical worm into the waves, a prize laced with her mana to lure the creature closer. Then, channeling her energy, she conjured lines of fire across the tide, shimmering ribbons of heat that hovered just above the surface. The sea steamed beneath her magic, the air heavy with anticipation. The town gathered on the cliffs, watching from a distance, their hope stitched into every breath. Fishermen, children, shopkeepers, each face held fear and fragile belief. A hush fell as the sea began to churn. The rope trembled. The water rose. From the dark abyss, a monstrous shape surged upward, crowned with writhing limbs and glistening scales. The kraken had arrived. Its vast arms slammed against the barrier of fire with a roar that echoed through the rocks, sending waves crashing toward the shore. Steam hissed violently as blistering heat met ancient flesh. Yuna stood firm, her gaze locked on the beast, her body radiating magical light. She pulled deep from within, igniting her mana like a forge. Bursts of power exploded across the tide, scorching the surface. The kraken recoiled, but only briefly, then lashed again with renewed fury. Coils as thick as tree trunks wrapped around the rope line. Yuna braced herself and flung more fire toward the center mass. The air vibrated with heat and energy. Sparks danced across the water, and the flames began to glow a dangerous blue. The creature's scream rumbled beneath the waves. She could feel her strength ebbing already, but there was no retreat. Her heartbeat synced with the pulses of the ocean, and still she poured her power into the flames, building a wall of magic that defied the sea itself. Despite rapid regeneration, the kraken surged. One massive arm was cleaved by Yuna's calculated strike, and as regeneration began, she channeled fresh mana into a new pattern. The town watched, breath held tight as the creature reeled. With effort and sacrifice, the monster faltered. The last great wave washed over the shore, and the kraken sank, motionless beneath the surf. Yuna savors a well-cooked meal as flavors melt across her tongue. The cooking, handled by Ants, the daughter of Melila's skilled chef, brings warmth and delight that briefly eases her fatigue. The quality reminds Yuna of how much comfort food can bring, especially after days of toil. Seeing Ants' dedication, Yuna briefly entertains the thought of bringing her to Cremonia as a full-time chef. Ants, however, shyly deflects the idea, pointing out the challenge of working with fish in a landlocked town. Yuna, never short on creative solutions, hints that transportation could be handled easily if needed. The suggestion gets passed along, and soon Aloda hears of it. Rather than giving Yuna more time to relax, Aloda assigns her a new task. Just like that, any rest she hoped for is swept away. Back in Cremonia, Fina waits near the town gate with quiet anticipation. Her thoughts swirl with worry and longing as she imagines what Yuna might be enduring in Melila. Relief washes over her when Yuna finally reappears. Yet, instead of resting, Yuna marches straight toward Cliff Fosheros's estate, burdened by unfinished duty. After recounting the events that unfolded in Melila, including starvation, corruption, sea monsters, and counterfeiting, she calmly reveals that she also constructed a tunnel connecting the two towns. The announcement leaves Cliff and Guildmaster Million stunned, as if struggling to grasp just how much one girl could accomplish in such little time. They all travel to Melila together thanks to the tunnel's ease. Once there, Guildmaster Atola greets them with courtesy but reveals her surprise and discomfort. She had merely expected help with negotiations, not the presence of Cremonia's lord. Yet, beneath her concern, she feels overwhelmed with gratitude. The crisis was averted, her people were fed, the corrupt merchants were taken down, the sea monster defeated, and now permanent infrastructure connects their town to others. It's more than anyone dared hope for. News spreads quickly, and soon, the entire town starts treating Yuna like a living legend. People shout suggestions, asking her to solve more of their town's problems, some realistic, others absurd. Flustered and emotionally exhausted, Yuna retreats, claiming she needs to return to Cremonia before she completely loses her mind. Once home, she finds herself reunited with Fina. Their connection remains strong, and with the immediate danger behind them, Yuna remembers a promise she once made. Without delay, she prepares to take Fina and Shuri to the ocean, hoping to give them a true taste of its wonder. The tunnel makes the journey easier, and the moment they emerge at the shore, Fina becomes spellbound. The vastness of the ocean, the shimmer of sunlight on waves, the salty breeze, all of it takes her breath away. Fina is reminded of everything Yuna has given her. A better life, warmth, knowledge, new experiences, and a reason to keep dreaming. Yet, as Yuna is swept away by townspeople again thanking her, requesting help, offering gifts, Fina quietly begins to wonder if she still holds the same place in Yuna's heart. Doubt creeps in. They later arrive at Yuna's new seaside house, shaped in the usual bear motif, much to the delight of Shuri. But for Fina, the joy begins to feel distant. She lies awake, silently wondering if the world is changing too fast. Yuna, now celebrated by many, might not need someone as ordinary as her. After returning to Cremonia, Fina spends time with her family and resumes harvesting work with her father. She tries to convince herself that keeping busy will help clear her mind. But a strange emptiness begins to settle inside her. Yuna, for her part, notices the growing distance. Though she visits occasionally, their time together becomes fleeting and brief. When Princess Noa visits with a letter from Elelora mentioning that Princess Flora cried because she couldn't meet Yuna, Yuna quietly makes plans to leave for the capital. She instinctively invites Fina, but the girl declines. The words are polite, but her heart trembles. Yuna departs alone, a quiet ache accompanying her. Days pass. Both Yuna and Fina carry the weight of absence. Fina trains harder, trying to be more independent. She listens carefully to her father's teachings and works with steady discipline. Yuna, though surrounded by companions and duties, feels an emptiness growing. Noa, visiting once again with her energetic flair, notices the void almost immediately. She remarks on how loneliness sometimes sneaks in when someone close starts to drift away. It's a feeling Yuna can no longer ignore. Eventually, Fina's father approaches Yuna with gentle words. He reminds her that even brave girls can feel lost, and that ignoring one's emotions might lead to lifelong regrets. The advice resonates. That very evening, Yuna walks toward the outskirts of town, her thoughts heavy with memories. Fina, standing at the same place, looks toward the horizon. Her heart wavers between fear and longing. As Yuna arrives, neither of them speak right away. The air between them is thick with unspoken words. Yet, in that silence, something tender begins to heal. Yuna stands quietly, letting the breeze touch her face as she gathers her thoughts. Her mind drifts back to the life she once knew, a life where she didn't need anyone. She had always been strong, independent, and happy being alone. People were difficult, and relying on others only led to trouble. That's what she used to believe. But this world had changed everything. Here, she met Fina, a small girl with a big heart. At first, Yuna just wanted to help. But slowly, without even realizing it, Fina became a part of her daily life. She became the reason Yuna looked forward to the next day. From waking up together to sharing meals, walking through town, and listening to the quiet sounds of evening, Fina's presence had made every day warmer. Yuna realizes now that she didn't just take care of Fina. Fina took care of her too, in a quiet, gentle way. She brought a sense of peace, of belonging, that Yuna never even knew she wanted. Fina wasn't just a friend. She had become home. Fina listens in silence, her eyes wide, her heart full. Tears begin to fall from her cheeks. She had worried for so long, thinking she was being left behind. But now she understands. Yuna never stopped caring. She was just lost, like her. The road ahead may still bring new troubles and unknown days. But now they understand something important. No matter what happens, they will face it together. Because they aren't just friends anymore. They're family.
I don't have friends. I got family.
The next day, Yuna reads the first picture book she made for her little bears, as Fina goes out to the forest in order to get some herbs, but gets attacked by a monster on her way. Right when she thinks that her end is near, Yuna, in her bear costume, appears and saves the girl. Fina then explains her situation to the bear girl, so she carried Fina on her back, and once Fina was done collecting the herbs, Yuna even took her back to the town and left. When Kumiru and Kumakyu express their surprise over the story, Yuna reminds them about the time when they met Princess Flora in the royal capital, and reveals that the princess wanted to read the second part of the picture book. That's why the protagonist is trying to draw one. She further asks them to keep it a secret that she has modeled the main girl from town as Fina. However, right then, Fina enters the room, making Yuna nervous. Later, Yuna and Fina go out to their restaurant, Bear Haven, and enjoy some good and sweet food. Suddenly Shuri, Fina's younger sister, comes to their table and tells them that she's here with her mother. Along with her mother, Termina, the guild master of the merchant guild, Miss Mulane, also comes to their table, revealing that they can't make honey-included food anymore since honey prices have shot up. It is because a problem occurred at the source of their supply, and their trade has stopped. Since the honey-included items are quite popular, they can either raise their prices, or when asked about the actual reason, Miss Mulane explains that monsters have nested near the bee trees, the giant trees that thousands of bees make together. According to the bee tree's keeper, the monsters are orcs, and the request has also been submitted to the guild to take care of them. Thus, Yuna leaves for the Adventure Guild by herself. The receptionist, Helen, at the Adventurers Guild, reveals to Yuna that no one has taken the quest of clearing the monsters by the bee tree, and it's because there is a horde of orcs and not just individuals. Considering the situation, Yuna goes to the bee tree with her bears and finds the place majestic until her gaze falls upon the orcs that are hogging all the honey. Suddenly, she notices two brown bears fighting against the orcs for their territory near the bee tree, but instead they get beaten up. When the orcs begin to hit the baby bears too, Yuna and her bears quickly protect the baby bears despite the fact that the brown bears can also attack them. With that being the case, she uses her bear powers to hunt down the orcs. Once they're all down, she now wonders what to do about the bears. Nevertheless, upon Kumiru and Kumakyu's request, she heals the brown bears and politely asks them to stay away from the humans who'd come to collect the honey. Thus, they do as requested. Yuna returns with honey gifted to her by the bears and gives it to Helen. When Mr. Rem, the keeper of the bee tree, overhears about the bears getting hunted by the orcs, he feels sad about it. However, Yuna assures him that the bears are safe now, to which he feels relieved since the bears have protected them against the orcs several times. He further reveals that they let the bears have some money in exchange as a symbiotic relationship. When asked about informing about such things beforehand, Rem replies that he was scared about the bears getting hunted down by their local Lord Cliff, since the bee trees are rare. To solve this matter, Yuna tells Rem to just use her name if Cliff ever orders otherwise, since he owes a lot to her. After the honey prices return to normal, Morin and Karen thank Yuna for her help. Lady Noir soon arrives at Bear Haven with her father, Cliff, and happily hugs Yuna. Excitedly, she invites Fina to visit her place and asks for bear pancakes before taking Fina along, saying she wants to discuss something about their fan club. Later, after closing the bakery, Lady Noir and Fina read a letter from Misana, inviting them and Yuna to her home for a fan club meeting. Lady Noir then asks Fina to report about the bee tree. Meanwhile, Cliff gives Yuna a letter from Ellalora sent from the royal capital. Princess Flora wishes to see Yuna's bears, and Ellalora also has something to discuss. Since Yuna has finished her second picture book, she agrees to visit. Cliff mentions the tunnel's upcoming public opening and Ance's plan to open a restaurant nearby. In the royal capital, Yuna meets the king, Queen Kisha, and Princess Flora. They enjoy her bear pancakes, though the king and queen confess they still miss her pudding. Yuna promises to share the secret recipe and gifts Flora the second bear picture book. Ellalora asks permission to make copies for the castle staff and their children, and Yuna shyly agrees. Yuna then gives Ellalora the pudding recipe but worries about the head chef's reaction. Ellalora reassures her and reveals her true reason: she wants Yuna to guard the Royal Academy's top students during training. After learning Shia will be there, Yuna accepts the task and returns home. The next morning, Fina wakes Yuna up for her new job at the royal capital, but Yuna doesn't want to escort the good-for-nothing kids of the nobles. Therefore, the bears and Fina work together to get Yuna out of the bed. At last, Yuna gets up and arrives at the royal capital, where she meets Shia after so long. After Shia thanks her for escorting them, Ellalora reminds Yuna that her job is to escort the students during their outdoor field training without intervening until the students are in danger. Moreover, she is asked to observe and report the unjustified behavior of the students. Before getting to her job, she gets to know that Ellalora hasn't informed the teachers and students that she's a bear and not a lady, but Ellalora insists that she wants to see how the children will react to it. Further, she asks Shia to pretend there as if she doesn't know Yuna and informs Yuna that it'll be a 4 to 5 day trip. When the protagonist asks if she can take her bears along, Ellalora refuses since it might make the students feel too safe, thinking that the bears will protect them. In that case, Yuna summons her bears in the form of cubs, thus, she allows them. After the discussion's done, Yuna heads off to the academy, despite feeling underconfident about having to be around the children of extreme nobles. From there, they head to the teacher's office, where he expresses his trust in Ellalora's judgment and introduces her to the students she'll be escorting. There are 4 students in the group of students, including Shia, whom Yuna will escort. First is a purple-haired energetic boy, Merix, who is the son of the captain of the knights. Second is a green-haired smart boy, Timal, who is the son of the prime minister, and the last one is Catalia, the daughter of the upper-class noble family. When Merix objects to having a bear Yuna escorting them, Catalia also joins in, and they begin to shout about how Yuna can be an adventurer. When Ellalora ensures that Yuna is indeed an adventurer, Timal demands the protagonist's guild card, so she shows it. After reading through it, the students arrogantly get the confirmation from Ellalora that they won't be responsible for whatever happens to Yuna and laugh at her for carrying her pets, her bears, along. The group sets off on their journey, and Shia quietly apologizes to Yuna for the other students' rude behavior. Yuna brushes it off and asks about their gossip after seeing her guild card. Shia explains that the students think Yuna is a spoiled noble who bought her adventurer rank with money. Soon after, Merix arrogantly warns Yuna not to interfere with their training or affect their scores. The students board the carriage, with Merix and Timal driving, while Shia and Catalia play happily with Kumiru and Kumakyu. Feeling jealous of their laughter, Merix declares they'll change drivers after leaving the royal capital. As the first day ends, they stop to camp for the night. Yuna wishes they could rest in her bear house instead, while the students divide camp duties. When night falls, Merix takes first watch, and Yuna, not included in the rotation, is pleased to finally sleep well. She instructs her bears to alert her of any danger before dozing off. Near morning, Yuna wakes during Shia's turn and joins her to keep company, lending her Kumaru and chatting about how tiring it is being around boys her age. At dawn, they wake the others and continue their journey. Suddenly, Yuna's bears alert her to 5 approaching goblins. Unsure what to do, she tells Shia, who suggests informing the others to build trust. Shia wakes Catalia and has Timol stop the carriage. Yuna explains that her bears sense monsters ahead. Though Merrick's remains skeptical, he orders everyone to prepare. The goblins soon attack from the trees, but the students fight bravely and defeat them. When Merrick's dismisses the warning as coincidence, Shia snaps, reminding him that the bears even sensed the exact number. Embarrassed, Merrick's grudgingly thanks Yuna, though only her bears. Yuna, however, can't shake off how desperate the goblins seemed. They soon reach the village, where the villagers eye Yuna curiously, but the village head, Cabos, welcomes them warmly. Merrick's introduces himself and offers his goods to Cabos, who invites them all to stay at his home. That night, after bathing, the girls chat in their pajamas. Catalia teases Yuna about always wearing her bear suit and notes her closeness with Shia, who asks her to keep it secret. When everyone falls asleep, Yuna contacts Fina, assuring her that she's managing fine thanks to Shia's support. Meanwhile, deep in the forest, a mysterious creature swiftly slaughters the remaining goblins. The next morning, Cabos, the village head, gives the group a tour of the village and its silk factory. This marks the final stage of their training. They only need to trade their flour for silk thread before returning to the capital. While exploring, Catalia and Shia excitedly choose fabrics they think would suit Yuna, though she insists she's not interested. Meanwhile, Timol observes how close they've grown to her, prompting Merrick's to recall the time when monsters attacked the royal capital. His father had told him an amazing adventurer defeated them, and though Merrick's once admired that person, he feels disappointed to have Yuna, whom he still looks down on, as their escort. Suddenly, a villager named Garen rushes into the factory, warning Cabos that goblins have appeared near the silkworm nests. Merrick's immediately volunteers his group to help, and though Cabos worries about the danger since over 10 goblins were seen, Merrick's confidently promises assistance. Timol protests that they're inexperienced, but Catalia insists they should try to save the village. Shia steps in, setting 2 conditions. They must not act recklessly, and they must accept help from Yuna's bears. Everyone agrees, and Garen leads them to the site. On the way, Yuna's bears sense 2 goblins approaching. Shia and Merrick's swiftly defeat them, and after resting, they continue to the mountain shed where the nests are. The students bravely fight and slay the goblins. When one charges Yuna, she kills it instantly to protect herself, urging the others to stay alert. Eric's, noticing her quick reflexes, silently acknowledges her strength. Panting and tired, the students plop onto the grass, whereas Garen opens the shed's door and informs them about how the students saved them. After thanking the students, they wonder why the goblins suddenly appear as if they were trying to get into the shed. Suddenly, the bears squeal, and Yuna instructs them all to get away from the shed, but realizes it's too late now. Before the people could react, a giant black tiger monster attacked the shed and ate a villager. They realize that it is what the goblins were running from, and Merrick starts to blame himself for volunteering to fight the monsters and dragging everyone into this. He tells everyone to run away while he stays here as bait, saying he'll take responsibility for the situation, so Timol joins him too. Seeing the situation, Shia requests Yuna for help. Therefore, Yuna stops the boys and informs everyone that they're surrounded by many wolves who might follow them to the village. Being an adventurer, Yuna takes responsibility for the matter and orders her bears to protect them all from the wolves. The bears grow up to their original sizes and surround the people to protect them, whereas Yuna punches the black tiger when it attacks her. After Yuna starts to attack the black tiger, Merrick's realizes that her accusations about her credibility were all wrong. Shia then tells him about the adventures of Yuna, at which she gets angry at her for not revealing all that earlier. Right then, the tiger bites the protagonist's hand, but she shoots a fireball in its mouth, making it die instantly. She then turns to deal with the wolves, and Merrick's can't help but get inspired by her awesomeness. Once they're all done with the monsters, Yuna recalls the events they've been through since the morning, and how she has secretly felt during that. She then sucks all the dead monsters into her bear glove, and everyone thanks her for saving them. When her gaze falls upon Merrick's, she notices how conflicted he's feeling after what just happened. Nevertheless, Garen asks her to accompany him to check the silkworm's nest, so after asking the students, she goes with him. Though she thinks that she's forgetting something, as soon as she enters the silkworm nest, she lets out a loud scream. Later, after returning to the village head's house, Catalia and Shia giggle at Yuna's expressions when she sees the silkworms. In her defense, she states that she didn't expect them to be monsters and so big. As they're talking, they hear a knock on the door. Turns out it's Merrick's and Timol, and they apologize to Yuna for underestimating her and making fun of her. Catalia also apologizes for her behavior, so Yuna just advises them not to make fun of others based on looks, and they all begin to laugh and talk about the trip. The group leaves the village the next morning and returns to the royal capital. After returning the carriage, they meet a boy named Gigoldo, accompanied by 2 adventurers. When the adventurers look at Yuna, they're surprised to see her. One introduces himself as Jadon, claiming he's seen her in Cremonia, and the other introduces herself as Mel. The adventurers then claim that the escorting job was so easy since the students are obedient, and Yuna's group look away embarrassingly. Pointing at Yuna's dressing, Jiguldo calls it silly, but the whole group gets defensive over it. The group then visits the teacher's office, wearing striped pajamas and skirts under their uniform shirts. After Yuna reports to the teacher about the students' hands-on training, the students thank her for the guidance and express how inspired they are by her. From there, Ellalora takes Yuna with her and asks her to tell about the events of the trip. At first, Ellalora calls it a dangerous turn of events and mentions that students' scores can be deducted, but considering how considerate they were about each other, she let it slide. Yuna then reports about the students' strengths and weaknesses that she observed during the training and leaves the academy. However, she finds the 4 students of her group waiting for her outside the academy, and they insist on taking her out for a party as a gratitude gift. Without listening to her answer, they drag her along happily. Finally at night, Yuna returns to her bear house and tells Fina about whatever happened at the training, and Fina asks her to always take care of herself. Feeling content about having someone worry about her, the girl begins to eat the pudding. At the orphanage, a young girl named Sherry is carefully embroidering a bear face when her friends come in and ask what she's making. She proudly tells them it's a cushion for Yuna. Since it's late and the lights will soon go out, one friend lends her a lamp so she can finish her work. The next morning, Yuna happily learns that Miss Ants is coming to Cremonia, something she's been eagerly waiting for, especially because it means she'll soon be able to eat seafood anytime she wants. She then meets Bo to discuss letting the new visitors help at the orphanage. As volunteers rarely come by, Yuna suggests that Liz and Bo accept their help, and they agree. Just as they finish talking, Sherry and her friends arrive to present Yuna with the embroidered cushion. Overjoyed by the thoughtful gift, Yuna praises Sherry's effort, making the girl beam with pride. Meanwhile, Ants and her friends arrive in Cremonia and are delighted by its charm. When they spot Bear Haven, they're eager to explore, but Ants reminds them to meet Yuna first. At the orphanage, Bo is telling Yuna about Sherry's embroidery skills when Ants and her group arrive. Yuna warmly welcomes them, introducing Bo as the orphanage director. When Ants' friends ask what to call Yuna, she insists they call her anything but Bear. Yuna then takes them to Bear Haven for volunteer work and dinner. The girls adore the adorable bear-themed cafe and enjoy the delicious food. After dinner, Ants realizes she hasn't booked an inn, but Yuna reveals she's already arranged accommodations at the same building where their future restaurant will be. The following day, Yuna introduces them to Miss Tyrmina, who helps Ants prepare a supply list. Just as they finish, Miss Melaine arrives with great news. A ship from Wa has reached Milila's port, meaning rice is finally available. Excited, they decide to add rice dishes to the menu until Melaine unveils bear-themed uniforms she secretly had tailored to their exact sizes, leaving everyone stunned. Some of the girls object to wearing bear costumes, while one of them really loves the idea. Therefore, to solve the conflict, Yuna suggests wearing simple uniforms with a bear embroidered on them. When she shows the cushion gifted to her by Sherry as a reference, they find the idea convincing. Thus, to have such uniforms made, Miss Melaine gives Yuna the address of a shop to buy the necessary materials from. Sherry and her friend are cleaning the barn of chickens when Yuna approaches them. She informs Sherry about the plan and takes her to a tailor shop from where they'll have the uniforms made. On those uniforms, Sherry is requested to then embroider small bears since everyone loved her embroidery. Upon arriving at the tailor shop, they introduce themselves before giving Miss Melaine's reference. The 2 tailors, Naru and her husband Temaka, greet them and mention having heard about their request. When Yuna shows them the cushion as a sample for what they want to make, they inform her that the aprons are ready, so Sherry can use anything in their shop to embroider them. Sherry shyly looks around the shop in awe, and Temaka realizes that she's also interested in making clothes. Thus, he allows her to learn and make an apron if she wants to. When Sherry returns to the orphanage at night, she tells her friends about her experience at the tailor shop, and also about how pretty that place was. She also talks about how she has started learning to make aprons, and though there's too much to learn, she's going to do her best. Just like that, Sherry learns to make aprons under the supervision of Temaka and Naru, and also embroiders the small bear faces on the aprons. During the process, her friends also support her by helping her out with her other duties. In the meantime, Ants also completes the shopping for their restaurant. Seeing the beautiful work done by Sherry, Temaka even offers her an apprenticeship. Sherry takes the aprons to the restaurant building and has the girls try them. Upon wearing them, the girls get so happy that they promise to treat her to a feast when they open up. As they all laugh and giggle, Yuna notices the worried and sad expression on Sherry's face, so she asks about it. However, without answering, she just lets out a heavy sigh and leaves for her orphanage. Later, when she's gone, Yuna visits the orphanage to meet Sherry and finds her resting alone in her room. According to her friends, she's been staying up late at night for some days, but when Yuna talks to her, she hides her pain. Upon Yuna's insistence, Sherry tells her about Temaka's offer to become their apprentice, but states that she'll be turning down the offer because she promised her friends to take care of the roosters together. Even though she enjoys working and learning at the tailor shop, she feels guilty about dumping her responsibilities on her friends. To solve her problem, Yuna suggests she ask her friends about it. Very hesitantly, she asks the people of the orphanage about this matter. With no second thought, everyone encourages her to give it a try, and some of them share how they're also pursuing their interests and not taking care of the roosters. Miss Bo also advises her to do whatever she wants so as not to leave out any regrets in her life. The next day, the restaurant Bear Diner opens up. There's a large crowd of customers, and the day goes by busy as Ants prepares the orders and the other girls serve. Just like that, everything from the orphanage to the tailor shop and the roosters at Cremonia gets managed with no problems. Once Yuna has made sure of everyone being happy, she relaxes and heads over to the guild. Yuna brings a black tiger for Fina to dismantle, but the girl hesitates, staring at the massive beast in confusion. Though her father once told her that dismantling a tiger is no different from a wolf, Fina admits she doesn't think she can do it. Yuna encourages her to try anyway, but Fina soon gives up, explaining that her iron knife can't cut through the thick hide. She suggests asking her father for help, but Yuna quickly dismisses the idea, imagining Fina's father swooping in like a heroic savior. Instead, she asks if Fina could manage it with better tools. Fina agrees and mentions the dwarf blacksmith, Gold. At Gold's shop, Yuna proudly announces that she defeated a black tiger, and Fina requests a steel knife. Gold teases her, saying she expected Yuna to be after Mithril since she once defeated a dragon. Yuna's eyes sparkle, asking eagerly if they have the legendary weapon of her dreams. Gold replies that they're out of Mithril because the mines have stopped supplying ore. She suggests that Yuna could get a Mithril weapon from her friend Gazel in the royal capital and writes her a letter of introduction. Ignoring Fina's protests, Yuna immediately teleports them there. In the capital, Yuna struggles to locate the blacksmith shop until she runs into Shia and her school friends, who guide her there. In return, Yuna rewards them with small bear plushies. At Gazel's shop, Yuna presents the letter, but Gazel explains that even the capital has no mithril due to a golem infestation in the mines. If they want more information, he suggests visiting the Adventurers Guild. At the guild, adventurers mock Yuna's bear outfit until she easily defeats one who challenges her. Their brawl is interrupted by Sanya, the guild master whom Yuna recognizes as the woman who stood beside the king. Sanya welcomes Yuna, joined by Eleanor, who explains that they share the same concern, the golems. Many adventurers sent to subdue the monsters have vanished, and the mines remain dangerous. When Yuna volunteers to defeat the golems, Eleanor gratefully accepts and offers to watch over Fina. Leaving Fina in Eleanor's care, Yuna imagines her as a captive princess awaiting rescue, while she herself becomes the heroic savior on a quest to defeat the evil witches and reclaim the mithril sword. Amused by her own fantasy, Yuna heads toward the golem-infested mines, ready for battle. She reaches there expecting the same curious looks towards herself, but finds out that all the people in this city are gloomy and sad with no one batting an eye towards her. Yuna tries asking someone for directions, but no one replies to her. She runs into Jade and Mel, who introduce the other members of their party, a boy and a girl. Yuna notices the boy and thinks how much he resembles a playboy, while the girl is like a cold beauty. Mel tells her that they were sent by their guild to fight the golems. Yuna thinks about how this must be the party sent by the Adventure Guild from the royal capital. Jade asks if she would be able to join them. Yuna says that she would and asks for more details. They sit in some inn to go over the details as Jade tells her how this started when the miners found a golem when they were mining, and since then a huge number of golems have been appearing with no stopping sign. Yuna asks why they didn't just kill that golem, but Jade tells her that the golem's level is the hardest, and it's made out of iron, which is very hard to defeat. Jade asks if she has a place to stay and invites her to stay in her room, saying the three of them will share since Yuna is small and would be on her bed. Yuna tries to stop her, but Mel tells her that the inn had a lot of free rooms. Just then a very colorful party of rangers comes inside the inn. Yuna thinks of them as some warriors, but then they start making fun of her, which vanishes her thoughts. Yuna tries to fight them off, but Mel tells them to stop. The biggest one of them all tries to fight Mel and tells them that they defeated 3 iron golems today. Mel tells him that they also fought 3, so that makes them on equal level. The guild members make their way to their rooms. Yuna thinks of Fina and wonders if she is okay. Fina, on the other hand, feels terrorized as Lady Eleanor and her kids play a beauty pageant with her, bringing new and colorful dresses towards her and playing with her. Fina looks at the expensive dresses, thinking how hard it would be for a stain to come off if she gets a stain on it, then thinks what if she rips off the clothing, then ponders how she does not have enough money to pay for the dresses. She decides that she will just stay in one room after wearing the outfits, but the young girls along with their mother offer to take her to go shopping with them, leaving her screaming and crying for help and praying for Yuma to come back quickly. Lady Eleanor brings Fina to the castle, asking if she has visited with Yuna before. When Fina shakes her head, Eleanor says that she will show her the castle today. Fina freezes, thinking of all the possibilities of her making a blunder in front of the king, then mentally apologizes to her mother, father, and sister if they ever get executed because of her. Yuna comes face to face with the iron golem as she sends them a punch. The bear resists her attack and sends a counterpunch. The bear sends a magic spell towards her as she breaks down on the ground trying to breathe. Yuna tries to take big breaths and jolts, waking up. She finds her 2 pet bears trying to suffocate her. She thinks that she's nervous because of the fight today, then thinks about Fina trying to live properly in the capital. She promises to take care of business here and return to Fina. Yuna makes her way towards the dining hall to have some breakfast. Just then Mel comes along asking if she's going to join their party for the hunt. Before Yuna could say anything, Mel decides that she is joining them because Yuna looks like a cuddly bear rather than someone dangerous. Yuna tries to tell them that she's okay on her own but decides against it. Eleanor brings Fina to the garden, telling her to relax as Fina follows her. Eleanor tells her that she will take care of everyone who tries to bully her, even if it's the king. Fina opens her eyes in shock but says nothing. The Adventurers Guild party arrives at the mines with Yuna to confront the golem threat. As the first monster appears, Mel identifies it as a mud golem. One adventurer charges forward to slash it while another carefully retrieves its core. Jade explains to Yuna that they avoid destroying the cores as they can be valuable and usually focus on weakening the golems instead. Impressed, Yuna joins their efforts, quickly adapting to the team's rhythm. Meanwhile, in the royal garden, Fina strolls beside Eleanor, who shows her the flowers. The king arrives with Princess Flora, warmly greeting Fina and recognizing her as the girl who lives with the bear lady. Nervous, Fina introduces herself politely, but the king chuckles, telling her there's no need for formality. He recalls how Yuna once gave him a sharp look when he approached her, leading him to leave Flora in her care instead. He praises Yuna for helping the capital, and Fina realizes that Yuna has somehow charmed both the king and princess with ease. Back in the mines, the guild ventures deeper and encounters iron golems. Jade slashes through them using a mithril sword he once earned in battle, while Yuna defeats them effortlessly with a single Kuma punch, astonishing everyone. Jade warns the others to stay alert, joking that Yuna could crush them by accident if she overdoes it. Soon, the sound of clashing echoes from deeper within the cave. Barbold's team is struggling against a massive mithril golem, immune to both weapons and magic. Jade urges them to retreat, but Barbold stubbornly refuses. After a heated exchange, Jade agrees to cover for them if they die, and his team withdraws. Later, Barbold's group returns battered but alive, and the adventurers share drinks, deciding to leave the threat to the army. Yuna, however, slips away. Using her bear portal, she returns alone to the mine at dawn to test a new lightning spell. It easily destroys iron golems, but the mithril golem withstands it. Provoking it into a charge, Yuna traps it inside a collapsing passage and unleashes her full power, electrocuting its core until it shatters. Victorious, she hears the goddess's voice rewarding her with Kumamite for defeating the mithril golem, realizing too late that the goddess had caused the golem outbreak herself. Eleanor passes the tea to Fina as she stumbles to catch it, and the cup falls on the ground, staining the dress and the cup being damaged. Fina lets out a scream saying that she can't afford to repay them. Eleanor laughs, saying that it's not her problem since her children also like to play and get their clothes dirty all the time. She tells her to relax and gives her a new set of clothes, making Fina smile again. Eleanor tells her to sit and brings new pastries. Fina takes them and prays for the golems to die on their own and bring Yuna quickly to her. Yuna reaches the inn to find the guild members there. She sits with them looking drowsy and asks Mel to check since she has defeated all the golems. They ask if she is joking, but she tells them that she's serious. Jade tries to ask again when Barbold's team reaches the dining hall. He then calls her a pet and asks how she could defeat all of them. Yuna, having enough, sends the weakest shock on her new spell, making him squirm on the floor as everyone surrounds him asking if he is okay. Yuna justifies her attack, thinking that it's fine since he was the one calling her a pet for more than 3 times. Yuna makes her way towards her room, thinking that she will finally be able to meet Fina tomorrow. After defeating golems all day, Yuna rewards herself with a hearty breakfast after sleeping until noon. The system notifies her about a reward guarded by the mithril golem, but before she can check it, the adventurers arrive. When she asks why they're back so soon, they explain that the tunnels are now completely clear of golems. Barbold, still skeptical, doubts that someone as small and cute as Yuna could have slain a mithril golem, and even calls her a pet, angering her. Jade reminds him of her proven strength, and Barbold finally concedes, though he grumbles about the lack of monsters to fight. Jade suspects the golems vanished because the mithril golem was defeated. Later, as the others relax in the market, Jade tells Yuna to head back and leave the verification to them. Before she departs, Barbold awkwardly invites her to join his party, but Yuna politely refuses, leaving him speechless and everyone else amused. After saying goodbye to her adventure friends, Yuna rides out on Clifferoo, and when he's tired, she plans to switch to Cliffkew. With the Mithril acquired, our protagonist jokes that it's time to save the princess. At the castle, Sanya realizes that with all the golems eradicated, she doesn't need to ask the kingdom for help and thanks Yuna for that. Our hero humbly answers that she was only doing her job. Sanya adds she will receive her reward once Jade's report comes in, which makes Yuna worry if she has to be at the capital to receive the reward. However, Sanya assures her that she has arranged it so that Yuna receives the reward at Cremonia's Adventure Guild, but wishes that she could stay in the capital. Our hero stands up to leave and assures Sanya that she'll come to visit her often. As she enters home, Yuna is taken by surprise seeing a servant welcome her at the door. But then, her surprise grows even more when she hears Fina call her from behind. The two sisters share a glimpse for a moment, and Fina runs towards her sister. She hugs Yuna and gets emotional. Our hero compliments her sister's dress, but Fina finds the bear outfit even cuter. She explains how rough it was that they had her wear pretty dresses to meet the king and had Shia bathe her while Serena serviced her. Yuna apologizes to her sister for leaving her alone, but Fina knows that she has to work. Fina assures her sister that everyone was nice to her, but worrying about making a blunder hurt her stomach. Shia and Surarina walk in, and Yuna confronts them about her sister's complaints. The girls answer that they found Yuna cute and loved treating her like a little sister. Before she leaves, Surarina gives Yuna a nice knife with House Fosrose's crest on it. The crest means that the wielder is backed by House Fosrose, and Surarina tells Yuna to show it to the people if she ever gets in trouble. Yuna jokingly asks if she really wants to give it to someone like her because she might end up using the noble authority to do bad stuff. Surarina knows it's a joke, but she still asks Fina if our hero would actually do that. Fina gets panicked and starts explaining how kind Yuna is, and that she even saved her mother, and she's the reason people at the orphanage can smile now. After this, Yuna takes the mithril golem to Gazel and asks him to make her 2 mithril knives. Realizing that she wants 2, Gazel asks her if she wants dual blades. Yuna remembers how cool Ksenia's dual blades looked and starts imagining herself and instantly says yes. However, mithril processing takes time, so Gazel suggests sharing the materials. He takes enough mithril to make 2 knives and promises to return the leftovers. Then, Yuna pulls out a gem and asks him if he knows anything about it. Gazel takes the gem and examines it, but all he can tell her is that it's not any normal gem. However, he believes that his master at the dwarf city would know more, but it's very far, and meeting him is not easy. Yuna gets excited hearing about the dwarf city, and Gazel offers to write her an introduction letter to his master. Seeing the world expand so quickly, our protagonist thinks maybe it's a gift from the goddess. But when Gazel notices the iron mixed in mithril, she realizes that the goddess still isn't as generous. Our protagonist decides to check up on Morin's store, hoping that they might have returned. But she notices a girl sitting outside the store. She walks up to the girl, who gets confused seeing Yuna's bear costume. The girl explains that she came to visit her relatives but found the store closed. She learned that they fell into debt and ran away. Seeing the girl pray for Morin and Karen, our hero realizes that she's their acquaintance. The girl gets excited seeing our hero know them, and Yuna explains that she knows her relatives are working in a restaurant in Cremonia. Yuna assures her that Morin and Karen aren't in debt anymore, and the girl takes a sigh of relief. The girl introduces herself as Naren and starts getting upset because she doesn't have any money to travel to Cremonia. Fina gestures towards our protagonist, and she hands out a bag of money, enough to help Naren get to Cremonia. The girl jumps in shock, but Yuna explains that Morin helped her a lot, and she'd feel bad if anything happened to her. Naren accepts the money after Yuna insists and promises to pay her back. Our hero tells the girl that Morin works at a bakery called the Bear Relaxation Restaurant. After the girl leaves, Fina asks why she didn't tell the girl that she owns the restaurant, and Yuna answers that it's more interesting that way. Meanwhile at the restaurant, Fina asks if they're going to Gold's place later, and Shuri asks to come. Yuna remembers Shuri's interest in dismantling monsters and offers her some tools to help her learn the techniques. Suddenly, Fina whispers that she can't wait, and a purple energy starts glowing around her, surprising everyone. She stands up and orders the others to sit down. Yuna hesitantly answers that she's seated already, but Shuri and her sit on the ground. Fina confronts Yuna in anger that a mithril knife is already hard to get, and now she's considering giving one to Shuri. She lectures Yuna about her money management and reminds her how expensive a mithril knife is. She tells Shuri that her parents will have to work their whole life, and only then will they be able to afford one. Shuri refuses to accept the knife anymore, but then Yuna says she'll instead lend her one, making Fina even angrier. Our protagonist walks through the market, finally relieved that she calmed Fina down and managed to give Shuri a knife too. But she also feels hurt that a younger girl doubted her common sense. Suddenly, she gets an idea. Knowing that she has failed to keep Fina happy, she swears to do everything to redeem herself. She takes out a bowl of fruits, leaving her bears confused. Yuna explains that seeing these gave her a divine revelation that she can use this to make food that can make any woman go mad. She wants to make the shortcakes, but she doesn't know how to make them, so her bears will taste the samples. However, the problem is that the bears can still get fat, so she offers to taste them along with them. Yuna quickly starts making the cake, but keeps failing at getting it right. The moon comes up, and then the sun rises back, and our protagonist sits with no energy left in her. Fina and Shuri walk and notice the bears and our hero feeling sick. Fina starts apologizing for lashing out at Yuna, knowing that she has always been nice to them. Yuna pats her head and tells her that she was right, and she helped her realize that. Yuna presents her a cake as a thanks and an apology. As the cake is presented to them, Shuri and Fina are shocked. As they take a bite, they instantly fall in love with its delicious taste and the whipped cream. Both sisters love the cake, but then Yuna asks them why they're here so early. Fina reminds her that they had to go pick up the mithril knife today. Our protagonist suggests leaving once they have eaten the cake, and Fina adds that her father has asked for a favor. Meanwhile at the guild, Yuna asks why they need to dismantle the beast inside the guild. Helen answers that it's a guild requirement. She then hands over to our hero the rewards after confirming that the golems no longer spawn. Since dismantling a high-level beast like the Black Tiger is rare, the guild wants the staff to observe. As Fina stands before the beast, her father and her sister encourage her. Fina places the knife on the beast and starts cutting through. As she continues, the staff observes. Yuna talks about how impressive the mithril knife is, but Fina's father adds that without skills, a good knife still can't cut through some things, reminding Yuna of what the adventurers said. Fina's father gets emotional seeing his daughter grow. Our hero is taken back into a flashback, and she feels confident that her partner can easily master a mithril knife. Fina continues dismantling the beast, and after finishing, she assures our hero that she can cut any beast she brings. Seeing her sister work, Shuri gets excited and pulls out her knife. Later, Fina's mother again reminds our hero how expensive a mithril knife is. She allows Fina to keep one but asks if it's really important for Shuri to have it. Yuna tells the mother that Fina already scolded her for that and assures her that she will keep the knife to herself and Shuri will only get it when necessary and under strict supervision. The mother looks towards her daughters. Shuri and Fina nod their heads. She takes a sigh and adds that they should have asked her first. So, our protagonist pulls out her delicious cake to ease the anger. The mother thinks she can't be bribed with food, but a moment later, she starts singing about how delicious it is. The father feels upset that he didn't get the cake, and Fina's mother suggests putting the cake on the menu. The sisters cheer in excitement, and Yuna realizes that her devilish dish really worked. Shuri jumps with excitement when she hears that the cake might be added to the menu, dreaming of eating it every day. Sadly, she's told that's not happening, and they still need Morin's approval before it can even go on the list. Inside the bakery, Naren confronts Morin for not telling her about moving to Cremonia. Morin explains they sent a letter to her father, but he never told her. Naren feels frustrated, saying she would have been lost if not for the bear girl who helped her. Right then, Yuna walks in. Naren's eyes widen, shocked to see her again, while Yuna doesn't recognize her at first. After a short catch-up, Naren promises to repay Yuna once she finds work. She asks Morin for a job at the bakery, but Morin says it's up to Yuna. Naren's jaw drops when Karen explains that Yuna owns the restaurant. Everything suddenly makes sense: the bear decorations, the utensils, all of it. She begs Yuna to let her work there. Morin adds that her husband will teach her pastries and asks Yuna to approve, so Yuna agrees. Naren's joy is off the charts. Later, Yuna visits the bakery on a holiday, surprising everyone. Fina's mom explains they're here to talk about the cake. Everyone loves it, especially Shuri, who can't stop smiling. Fina's mom suggests adding it to the menu, but Morin says they're already swamped. Naren volunteers to make the cake herself so it can stay. Yuna agrees but warns her it needs to taste just as good. They start training right away, with Shuri excitedly joining. Later, Yuna visits Noah, bringing the cake for her and Lala to try. Both love it, especially the whipped cream. Lala even agrees to teach them how to make tea to go with it. Yuna tries but finds it harder than expected, and Lala patiently guides them through, promising they'll get it right with practice. After a while of making tea, the Lord suddenly walks in to check up on the learning. Since he is free, he decides to taste the tea they make, increasing the stakes for the learners. The tea is finally presented. Everyone takes a sip. The Lord tastes the cake and the tea, and after an intense moment of waiting, he announces that the tea passes but barely. Yuna feels sad because she tried really hard, but Noah assures her that her father's approval is actually more than enough. Lala assures them that the Lord's approval means they've done it, and Noah also gives them a pass. The Lord then tastes the cake and compliments Yuna for it. Our protagonist tells the Lord to come by her restaurant for more cake, and his daughter excitedly jumps in to say yes. He then asks if the restaurant uses these tea leaves because he feels a different taste. Yuna is surprised that the Lord can tell the difference and shows him the tea leaves Lala made for them. Lala argues that they didn't want to use expensive ones because practicing with them might not be the best for the restaurant. However, the Lord finds the taste good enough and asks to try another cup, and his daughter jumps in for the same. But Lala warns her that more cake means she will have to take extra dance classes for exercise. At the restaurant, Naren wears her bear costume to work, and Yuna tells her that she doesn't have to wear it if she doesn't like it. However, Naren seems to enjoy her new costume. Our protagonist then visits Gazel to get her knives. Seeing the blades, she asks for something to cut with them as a test. So she stands outside before an iron golem, and the citizens gather around. Gazel explains that the black one is for the right hand, and the white for the left to match her bear mittens because he knows she's going to dual wield them. Yuna gets into position, remembering her gaming days and confident that she can replicate the movement with her bear gear. She jumps and instantly cuts down the golem's arm, leaving everyone shocked. In just a jiff, she cuts through the whole golem, reducing it to pieces, and cheers Gazel for his knives. Gazel is amazed by her swordsmanship skills and magic flow, but Yuna compliments his knife-making skill. He then tells our protagonist that she can now take the knives home and tells her to clean up the golem trash. Yuna tells her she wants to give it to him as a thanks, but he knows she's just too lazy to clean up. He decides to pay her for it and goes back to get the money and the introduction letter to his master. After the knives, Yuna decides to visit Elainer to check up on her. She explains that she was in the capital to get her knives and thought about visiting her. But then, the servant comes out, thanking her for the picture book, confusing Yuna. Elainer explains that Flora told her that Miss Bear made those. Yuna visits Flora, and suddenly, her bear falls into the fountain. Flora walks up to the bear to pick it up, and suddenly, the bear shakes itself, wetting Flora, and disappears. The bear teleports back to the table, and Flora cheers in relief. Suddenly, the king walks in and decides to join Yuna for tea. Yuna presents the king and the queen some tea and cake, and they fall in love with it. The king then thanks Yuna for her help at the mines, but our protagonist plays it nice and says she needed the mithril for weapons anyway. The king is amazed that our hero not just uses magic, but also proficiently uses weapons. Right then, Zelif comes running in to thank Yuna for her pudding recipe. He then sees the cake Yuna brought and agrees to try it. After closely examining the cake and its cream, he takes a bite. After a brief moment of silence, Yuna is confused, seeing no response. Suddenly, Zelif cries out in joy, singing about the delicious flavors flooding in his mouth. He jumps up and asks Yuna about how she knows more dishes than him, but Yuna tells him that he just doesn't know it because the recipes are from her distant country. The chef wishes to go to many countries to learn their dishes, and the king argues that then it'll stop them from eating his food. Seeing the chef's love for learning, the queen suggests inviting cooks from different countries to teach him, and the king agrees. As a thanks for the delicious tea and cake, the king invites our protagonist for dinner, and Zelif promises to make delicious food for her. However, after eating so much of Zelif's food, Yuna now understands why the king wouldn't let him go. But what she didn't expect was that Flora and Kisha would like her bears so much. She thinks about making their plushies and hopes that they would be happy to receive them as a present. Yuna starts her morning by exercising with her bears. She does the tall, intimidating pose, then the picking salmon pose, and finishes with the beehive pose. Fina just stares, totally confused. Yuna explains she's just burning off all the cake she ate. Fina laughs, then suddenly asks if Una got a letter too. Yuna blinks, walks over to her mailbox, and finds one with the name Misana Farengram. She's confused at first, then remembers Misay, the little noble girl she met in the royal capital. Fina explains it's an invitation to Misay's 10th birthday, and starts panicking about going to a noble party. In her mansion, Misa writes that same letter, thanking Yuna for saving her life and inviting her as a friend. Reading it, Yuna wonders why Misa would invite her instead of just Fina. Fina worries they'll mess up at a noble's event, while Yuna, remembering the king's party, sighs that it can't be that bad but still a pain. Neither of them knows what happens if they refuse, so they decide to ask Cliff. At Cliff's mansion, Yuna nervously asks if she can reject the invite. Seeing his reaction, she immediately thinks that means death. Cliff laughs and explains it's just a small friend's-only birthday party. Noah chimes in that Misa will cry if Fina doesn't come. Fina gets emotional and agrees, and since she's going, Yuna decides to join too. Noah cheers, thrilled to help Fina pick a dress. After they leave, Yuna asks Cliff if she needs to bring anything. He says he'll handle the formalities, she just needs a gift to make Misa happy. Yuna panics, not knowing what nobles like, and Cliff suggests a bear ornament. Then she remembers the plushie idea she once had for Flora. She visits Sherry, spawns Cliffaroo and Cliffkew, and asks her to make plushies of them. Sherry happily measures them and promises to finish in 5 days. Her friends Temuka and Neil offer to help, but Sherry insists on doing it herself. Watching them, Yuna realizes they've already become a family. She also asks for extra plushies for the orphanage, telling Sherry there's no rush. Later, as Una heads home, she runs into Fina, who's pouting because Yuna left without her. Fina excitedly talks about her dress and asks if Yuna will wear one too. Yuna says no, but Fina insists she'll look great. Yuna tells her about the bear plushie gift, and Fina loves the idea. Worried about her own gift, Fina accepts Yuna's help, so together, they bake a giant shortcake topped with tiny bear decorations for Misay's birthday. Before leaving, Yuna takes permission from Fina's parents and assures them that she'll keep her safe. However, Shuri feels upset that Yuna never takes her anywhere, and our protagonist realizes she's going to need more plushies. Fina gets down on her knees, and with a smile on her face, she tells her sister that going out is fun, but sometimes trouble just happens, and she can handle more pain once she grows up. Meanwhile, Noah gets excited seeing the bears. Cliff tells Yuna that she insisted on riding the bears. With no one riding the carriages, Yuna believes she can move faster. But then she notices the 2 guards. Cliff explains that he was confident that he didn't need any guards with Yuna around, but they still insisted. Yuna then tells Noah to ride the same way as before and to switch to Cliffaroo halfway, and they begin their journey. Meanwhile, 2 people see the bears racing in. Our protagonist and her friend race each other with their bears while the horses try to chase them from behind. The villagers are suddenly shocked seeing that the bears are faster than horses. Later, Yuna uses her mittens to spawn a giant bear house to stay for the night. Cliff is amazed with her abilities. However, Noah wants to sleep outside with Cliffkew. But then, Yuna tells her that the bears can get smaller, and she can sleep with them inside the house, making Noah even more excited. Yuna heads inside the house and invites the guards too, but they insist on keeping watch outside. Yuna assures them that her bears can detect any danger nearby, so they don't need to stay outside, but the guards still insist on doing their jobs and staying by their horses till morning. Seeing the tired horses, our protagonist realizes her mistake and offers the guards a warm meal for dinner. While the guards eat outside, our protagonist and her friends enjoy their delicious meals inside. Yuna asks if anyone wants more soup, and everyone extends their plates without hesitation. After finishing their meal, Noah and Fina start feeling sleepy, but Yuna tells them to bathe first. Cliff is surprised that the lodging has a bath as well. He's amazed that a place so empty in the forest has such resources. Fina and Noah ask Yuna to join, but she tells them to go first. Cliff is confused why he needs to bathe when Yuna tells him he's last, and she reminds him that a lord can't just go to a party dirty. Yuna then asks what kind of city Shilin is, and Cliff answers that it's very similar to Cremonia. She then asks if it's normal for nobles to just attend parties, and he answers that the nobles need to have a good relationship. Yuna thought that he just came because the city had good food or something, but Cliff adds that a lord has to work while they just enjoy the party. In the morning, Yuna takes her lodging back and moves out with her friends. Suddenly, she notices some people surrounded by monsters. The monsters jump at them, and then our hero steps in, cutting the monsters apart. She saves the people just in time, leaving them shocked with her power. Seeing them, she remembers the time she saved Miss A. Right then, more monsters jump in, and our hero traps them in the bubbles and ends them. She then fixes the carriage. The couple thanks her for her help, and Yuna pats the little girl's head and tells her she did a good job at not crying. But then, she's taken by surprise when the man mentions the rumors about her. He adds that rumors talk about a strong girl from Cremonia who wears a bear costume and manages a restaurant. The man explains that the rumor is very famous among the merchants. Yuna is surprised to hear that the man is a merchant, but then he explains that he went bankrupt in Shinlan, so now he's trying to start over in a different town. Right at that moment, Noah and Fina walk in, checking up on their friend. Yuna says goodbye to the merchant and continues her journey. They all reach Shinlan City, which Yuna doesn't find much different from Cremonia. The people stare at them with their jaws open, and Yuna thinks they're staring at Cliff and Noah because of their nobility. But Cliff tells her they are looking at her. Our protagonist is aware of the attention she draws and tries to ignore it. Fina and Noah try to reassure their friend that she looks cute, but that only makes it worse for her. The further they walk in, they find the crowd lessen. They finally reach Misae's home, where Maichin greets them. She greets her guests and tells them they're Misana and Gran's honored guests, but Yuna and her friend try to be humble. Right then, Misa walks in and welcomes her guests with a smile, and Yuna feels glad that she didn't decline the invite. Misa calls her grandfather to greet her guests. Gran walks up to them and welcomes them to the party. Cliff steps forward and compliments Gran for still commanding his own party. Gran jokes that it's because his heir is not competent yet. Right then, his son Leonard walks in. Leonard and his wife greet their guests, and Cliff asks the chef if he can expect good food. The chef assures the guests that he has made food that is of the royal capital's taste, and Misa introduces Box as their head chef and says that he makes delicious food. Right then, Box recognizes our bear protagonist and her bear outfit and thanks her for saving Gran and Misana and decides to give her the best food of the event. Seeing Gran and his granddaughter be so loved by everyone, Yuna wishes that all nobles were like them. Meanwhile, Misa takes her friends to the city that they find just as crowded as the capital or Cremonia. The girls seem to enjoy their day roaming around, but then Yuna cautions them to stay together because it's the promise they made to walk without guards. Fina and Noah hug our protagonist in excitement while Misa stands there quietly. Seeing this, Yuna invites her, and Misa joins the group hug too. Seeing the girls hug Yuna, the people watching think they are attacking a bear. The girls then continue their day, eating around and visiting shops. As they walk back, Misa suddenly stops and tells her friends that she had a lot of fun visiting the market, especially because she isn't allowed to go alone. Hearing about the strict routine, Yuna comments that that's very noble ladylike, and Noah starts jumping to tell her that she's noble too. Yuna grabs her friend's hand and suggests having more fun. Right then, someone walks in talking about smelling poverty. Randall calls Misa a rundown noble from the east. Yuna folds her fist in anger to attack, but she avoids making a scene for the girl's safety. She thinks Randall has to be a moron to be talking to a noble like that. Randall walks up to Misa and tells her to say thanks for him coming to Gran's party. Yuna now realizes that he's also a noble, but still stands by her moron comment. Randall's friends cheer for him because they think he's being kind to the poor. Right then, Misa forbids the noble boy from coming to the party. Randall gets angry and reminds Misa that her family is about to go down and she should get on his good side. Right then, our protagonist jumps in and tells Randall to back away. Randall gets angry for the interruption, and Yuna argues that she's Misae's bodyguard. Randall makes fun of her bear outfit and says a bodyguard is supposed to look strong while pointing to his own bodyguard. Randall finds it funny when Misa says Yuna is stronger than her bodyguard. Our protagonist confronts the bully that it's funnier that he needs a bodyguard just to talk to a little girl. She tells Randall to go home to his mother. Randall gets angry and jumps at her to attack. However, Yuna grabs his hand and refuses to let go. He calls his bodyguard to protect him, but just when Blood takes a swing, Yuna lets go of Randall, making him fall, and his followers burst into laughter. Randall tells Blood to attack Yuna, but Randall points towards the crowd surrounding them. Realizing that he can't attack them anymore, Randall threatens Yuna for opposing him and leaves. As they sit on the bench, Misa apologizes to her friends for having to see Randall's behavior. Noah cries out, apologizing for not doing anything to help her. Our protagonist assures the little girls that she's their guard, but she can't do much to the town's lord's son. Misa explains that her father governs the eastern district and the Salvard family governs the western. Later, Yuna tells Cliff and Gran about their encounter with a noble brat. Cliff thanks her for protecting the girls, and Gran apologizes for his rude behavior from earlier. Yuna tells him that Misa is pretty upset, but Fina and Noah are trying to cheer her up. Gran wishes that the children could just have fun and let adults handle everything. Our protagonist asks if the town having 2 lords is causing the problems. She learns that as a reward, the previous king handed 2 equal halves of Shilin to the 2 nobles, and the town ended up having 2 lords. Yuna thinks the king was being stupid, but Gran explains that the 2 families got along well together, but things worsened when the Salvard family's head changed several years ago. They started playing their tactics like bullying Misei. When they tried to protest, the Salvard family ignored it as a kid's dispute. Furthermore, the Salvard family even bribed the Merchant Guild's guildmaster to treat the Western District with favor. As a result, the economic activities in the district halted and the tax revenue declined. The family always made the excuse that the merchants are free to choose their trades. Gran worries that if their tax revenue keeps declining, his family's lordship might be taken away by the king, and the Shimlin city will all belong to Salvard's family. Many families have been ruined because of these activities. Cliff explains that this party was held to show the town's VIPs that the Farengram family is alive to turn them on their side. Cliff is here to show that the Foshiros family supports them, and Yuna now realizes what he meant the other night. He had no reason to hide it from our protagonist, but just wanted her and the girls to have fun without worry. Yuna doesn't think a party can fix all that and jokes that she can take Misa with her if they end up homeless. Gran assures her that the party and good food will convince the others to hear their story because good food speaks for the quality of a noble. Yuna now understands why they're opening a party for politicians and rich people. Cliff further explains that Box is a chef from a top-class restaurant in the royal capital, and his skills are said to be in the top 5. Suddenly, Mikan rushes in, panicking, to inform Gran that Box has been severely wounded. Gran goes to check up on his head chef. Box feels upset and apologizes to his lord for the carelessness. Gran tells the chef to rest because he still can't move his hand well, but Box feels sad for not being able to cook on an important day and starts crying. Meanwhile, Cliff and Yuna stand outside, discussing Box's injury. Cliff doesn't have any evidence, but he believes it could be the Salvard family that got the chef injured to make the party fail and finish Gran. Cliff worries that there's no other good chef in the city, and even if they find one, he would be bribed by the Salvard family. Right then, his guards walk in to inform him that they've finished preparation to move out. The guards move out on Cliff's orders, and he explains that they should have enough time to get a chef from Cremonia. Yuna, with her fast bears, offers to go, but Cliff wants her to be by Noah and the girls. On the other hand, Noah joyfully hugs the bear, finding them cute. But Misa sits, quiet and upset. She feels bad that she has caused problems for her friends and Box. Yuna tries to reassure her that the noble brat and his family should be blamed, but Misa still feels upset. Fina tells her friend that the bears are upset seeing her sad, and Misa gives Kumakyu a hug. Right then, Cliff walks into the room to inform Yuna that Larbin and Gouch were ambushed on their way to Cremonia, meaning they were being watched. Arrows started to fly in on them once they left the city, but fortunately their lives are safe. Cliff still has no evidence for the culprits and begs Yuna for help. Yuna, already angry at the nobles, agrees to help them. But then Misa jumps in to stop her because Box and the guards are already hurt, and now she worries that her friend might get hurt too. Yuna assures the little girl that she won't get hurt because she's stronger and tells Cliff that she'll bring an amazing chef for them and leaves after saying goodbye. Luna sneaks out to the other side of the wall, and after confirming that no one is watching her, she proceeds to make a teleport gate. Yuna returns to the capital and asks Eleanor to be her intermediary. Eleanor tells her that she could have come as she usually does, but Yuna worries that she'd need a formal procedure to meet the king. The king learns about the mess left by the previous king. His lords know that noble disputes are not uncommon, but they also understand how bad Shimlin's situation has gotten. Yuna wonders who the other 2 people are, and right then, the king introduces Zhang, his prime minister, who thanks our protagonist for her help in saving the capital from Gulzam's evil. Then, the other guy introduces himself as King Ferrat's legitimate son, Elnart. After Elnart extends his praises, the king asks what he can do for Yuna. But then, Elnart speaks up that they don't want to get into the nobles' dispute. Zhang speaks up that he knows about the Salvard family's rumors of corruption and violence, but they lack any evidence. Right then, Eleanor steps in to clarify that Yuna is not asking for their interference. Yuna speaks up, asking to borrow their chef Zelef. The king is surprised that she's not here to file a complaint against Salvard's family, and Yuna explains that power struggles are his job, and she just wants to save the party. Elnart thinks it's because our protagonist wants to take advantage of the Farengram family, but she explains that she just doesn't want a little girl to be heartbroken. The king, delighted by Yuna's answer, decides that since he can't take a side, the case will be handled by the Foshiros family. Eleanor agrees, and the king announces that he allows Zelef to be taken to Shimlin. Suddenly, Zelef walks through the door, claiming that he has heard everything and obeys the king's command. Zelef stands before the 2 bears, surprised by their true size. Yuna assures the chef that he'll be safe riding the bear. Zelef touches Kumakyu's fur and starts appreciating its flesh. He then sees the paws and tells Yuna that a country has a delicacy for bear paws. Without wasting any more time, Yuna takes the chef and heads back to Shimlin. Box feels crushed for failing his lord at such an important time, especially after Gran saved him from his awful old boss. Cliff tries to comfort him, saying Yuna went to get another chef, but Box refuses to let some random person handle the banquet. Just then, Zelif walks in and everyone freezes. It's the royal chef himself. Yuna brought him. Zelif smiles, understanding Box's frustration, and politely asks if he can join in. The two chefs shake hands and get straight to work. Noah and Fina light up seeing their friend, and Missa finally relaxes and smiles again. Meanwhile, Lord Gagel Salvard rides in his carriage, humming proudly about bribing merchants and driving Gran into a corner. He praises Blood for attacking the chefs and Cliff's guards, confident that Gran's party will be a disaster without good food. He boasts about soon owning all of Shilin. His son Renaud calls him soft for not killing the chef and knights outright, but Gagel snaps back, saying killing them would have ruined the party and humiliation only matters when the victim's alive to feel it. He grins, eager for his victory. At the mansion, Gran greets his guests and invites them to enjoy the feast. Gagel arrives, making sly comments about rumors of the Eastern District falling apart. Gran keeps his cool, saying he's got things handled and telling Gagel to relax and enjoy. Gagel smirks and walks off. Gran, knowing his game, keeps an eye on him, while Yuna and Fina quietly watch from a corner, ready for trouble. As the party goes on, Gagel keeps glaring at anyone talking to Gran, planning to teach them a lesson. His followers gossip about Cliff gaining influence in Cremonia, but Gagel laughs it off. He thinks only Cliff's wife matters to the king. Then the food arrives. Gagel digs in, expecting garbage, and freezes. It's amazing. The taste stuns everyone, and praises echo across the hall. Furious, Gagel drops his plate, yelling that the food is disgusting. Gran calmly walks over. Gagel accuses him of lying about the chef, and Gran admits it's someone else but better than Box. Gagel stomps the food, declaring it awful, confident everyone will agree. To the Western Lord's surprise, Zelif walks in to introduce himself and asks if he doesn't like the food. Gagel finds the chef's face familiar but still plays along, calling the food disgusting. However, when Zelif asks what part of the food was bad, Gagel starts stuttering and says that a chef should just apologize instead of asking a noble for an opinion. The chef refuses to apologize without reason, saying that it'd be an insult to his master, who loves his food so much. Gagel says that anyone who likes his food has something wrong with their taste. The chef calmly answers that he will deliver the message to his master, the king. Everyone is shocked at the revelation. Gagel starts stuttering, and people suddenly recognize the king's master chef. Zelif asks his followers what part was bad because he cannot serve the king bad food, and they suddenly start apologizing, making excuses that they have a cold. After Gagel's pets leave, Zelif explains that he came to the city because he heard of his friend's injury. Gagel is surprised, thinking that the time of assault should make it impossible for the news to reach so quickly. Zelif plays with him and asks if he knows about the culprits too, since he knows it was an assault, and Gagel starts getting defensive. He now compliments Zelif's cooking and starts making lame excuses that he's not doing well. He then turns to Gran, apologizing for causing a fuss, and asks Zelif to not report his remarks to the king. Renaud jumps in, asking his dad why he's bowing to a chef, but Gagel drags him away and leaves the party. As an apology for the drama, the chef presents the famous food from the king's banquet, the pudding, and the people cheer in joy. After the party ends, Gran thanks Yuna for her help, but Yuna believes the whole problem was fixed because of Zelif's boldness to face Gagel. Zelif humbly answers that he just did it out of love for his fellow chef and his cooking. Meanwhile, Gagel is still thinking about why the royal chef was at the party. He blames Elena for planning this, but worried that Zelif might say something to the king, he realizes he needs to be careful. Renaud can't understand why his father is afraid of a cook, but the Lord explains that Zelif is no ordinary cook, and their family name depends on what he reports to the king. Renaud suggests just killing the chef, but his father starts screaming at him to stay quiet. He grows angry, blaming Missa and her friend for his humiliation. Yuna and her friend play around when suddenly, Eleonora walks in. She greets the girls and tells them that she came to check in on her daughter. But when she sees Noah's dirty clothes, Noah starts explaining herself, but then her mother calmly assures her that she's not angry. Eleanor guesses the reason the girls aren't allowed to go out, but Yuna assures her that the nobles are scared of the king, and they won't do anything stupid while Zelif is around, and keeping the girls at the mansion is just to be safe. Eleanor then explains that she's here to see that Cliff and work are just excuses to come to Shilin, but she's actually here for the birthday party. However, the royal family feels responsible for Shilin's situation, which is why Eleanor is in the city to inspect it herself. However, she can't do anything without evidence unless the crime is done right in front of her eyes. Sadly, the bratty nobles are not stupid enough to do that, and Eleanor decides to just put her work aside to attend Missé's party. Eleanor tries to convince Yuna to wear a dress, but she refuses. However, when she heads inside, she sees Fina and Noah holding a dress for her. They try to convince her to wear a dress. While Fina shows that it's a payback, Noah tries to convince her that Missa will be happy seeing her in a dress. The little girls start making cute faces and finally succeed at convincing their friend, but only on one condition. Seeing Yuna in a dress leaves everyone stunned. Gran and Leonard compliment that they almost didn't recognize her without the bear outfit. However, Eleanor believes that our protagonist looks beautiful in her dress. Yuna starts feeling awkward with all the stares, and Cliff jokes that he didn't know she was human. But then, he notices her bare hands and shoes. Noah explains it was her condition to wear the dress. But the truth is that our protagonist is just a powerless modern girl without her bare gear. Then, Misa walks in and compliments Yuna's dress. Gran begins the birthday party, and everyone chants, "Happy birthday" for Misa. The family and friends sit down for dinner. They enjoy their dessert, and Misa opens the presents. Then, our protagonist brings her gifts. Misa loves the bear plushies, but Noah gets overexcited for them. She starts fidgeting in excitement and asks Yuna for more. However, Yuna tells her that it's impossible because those are Misa's presents. Noah starts crying, feeling sad that it wasn't her birthday. Elena tells Yuna that a lot more would want these plushies, and Yuna tells them she has already ordered more of them. Noah feels relieved to know that she'll get the plushies too. Misa hugs her presents with a smile, and seeing her happy, Yuna feels glad to have saved the day. Meanwhile, Elena and Yuna are out on their own today. Yuna explains that the girls wanted the seniors to handle the organization business themselves, so she's free. She jokes and tells Elena to go catch some evil organization or something. While Elena heads to the market, Blood secretly watches them from a distance. Elena's enjoying her stroll through the market when suddenly her bare phone rings. She ducks into an alley, picks it up, and hears Fina crying for help. Without hesitation, Yuna rushes back to the mansion, and when she gets there, the whole place is a mess. Everyone's knocked out cold. She finds Fina injured and quickly heals her. Then she notices Noah unconscious but unharmed, and her heart drops. Misa is missing. Fina wakes up, sobbing, and tells her that a man in black took Misa away. She apologizes through tears, blaming herself for not being able to do anything. Yuna gently pats her head, telling her they did their best. Fina begs her to save their friend. Just then, Cliff and Gran walk in, shocked by the chaos. Yuna tells Cliff to look after everyone while she handles the rest. She calls her bears and asks if they can find Misa. When they nod, she hops on one and takes off at full speed. Meanwhile, Renaud throws Misa into a cell. Blood reports that no one noticed him sneaking in since the guards weren't around. Renaud tells Misa she's a hostage and points to other scared kids locked up for defying him. He claims the whole town belongs to the Salvard family and that she should get used to trembling. Then he walks away. Misa cries for her friends but notices the younger kids weeping for their parents. She hugs them and promises that help will come soon. Elsewhere, Gagel loses it and yells at Renaud for disobeying orders to stay put until Zelif returns. Renaud argues that now Gran will finally listen to them, mocking his father for being too scared. He claims they own the town and not even the king can stop them. Gagel realizes his son's stupidity might ruin everything. Suddenly, the ground shakes. Outside, Yuna stands at the gates, facing a group of guards who try to block her way. She simply knocks them out with a touch and steps through. Her bears confirm Misa is nearby, and Yuna smashes open the doors with one big bear punch. The soldiers inside rush toward her, stunned to see the bear girl herself. Renaud recognizes her immediately. Yuna demands to know where Misa is, but he plays dumb and threatens her instead. She's not in the mood. With a glare, she tells them they're the ones who'll pay and walks straight past them. Suddenly, a burst of fire comes her way. She dodges easily and spots Blood in the corner. He admits he didn't expect her to be this fast. Gagel yells at him for revealing too much, but Blood shrugs. Yuna already knows they've got Misa. Yuna smiles, feeling oddly glad the guy who hurt her friends is right here. Renaud, panicking, orders Blood to get rid of her. Blood attacks again, but Yuna blocks his fire and throws it back with her other hand. He prepares to fight seriously now, but then does some creepy tongue move that just grosses her out. The other guards rush in, but Yuna draws her mithril knives, telling her bears to handle the extras. Then she and Blood clash fast, hard, and brutal. Their blows echo through the room, but Yuna keeps up easily. Blood speeds up, moving almost too fast to see, yet she still calls him slow. Frustrated, he goes all out, but Yuna barely flinches. Smoke fills the room. When it clears, Blood's magic fizzles out. He's down. Renaud stares in disbelief, his top fighter beaten just like that. Meanwhile, Yuna's bears toss the other guards around like dolls. Renaud panics and runs. Yuna turns to face Gagel, who's shaking in fear. Suddenly, Blood tries a sneak attack from behind, but Yuna blocks it. He's shocked she sensed him. She tells him he's only strong because he picks on the weak. Blood smirks and taunts her about hurting Noah and Fina. That's the last straw. Furious, Yuna puts away her knives and activates her bear claws. Blood hurls more blades, but she blocks them all. He speeds up, tries fire again, nothing works. Yuna punches him hard in the gut, then again, and finishes him with a third knockout blow. Gagel trembles. Yuna tells him she never cared about their stupid noble feud, but everything changed when they took Misa. The Lord stammers that it was all his son's doing. Right then, Renaud shows up with Misa, threatening her. Yuna leaps up the stairs and knocks him out in one punch. Misa cheers, running to her. Gagel tries to defend himself again, but Yuna drops down and lightly punches him just enough to shut him up. Elena, who'd caught up, panics for a moment but sighs in relief seeing Yuna didn't kill him. Elena explains that she saw Yuna rushing off in the market, and when she got home, she learned everything that happened. She admits she didn't expect to walk in on Yuna arresting the Lord himself. Gagel, still shaken, demands to know why she's even here. Elena calmly says she's on the king's orders, investigating rumors about him. Gagel tries to fight back, shouting that Yuna should be arrested for hurting a noble. Elena just sighs, saying she's honestly embarrassed to be a noble today. She admits she doesn't have solid proof yet, but kidnapping a noble girl is more than enough reason to detain him. Gagel immediately blames everything on his son, claiming he'll cut him off to save himself. Elena shuts him down, saying the parent still shares the blame. Missa then tells her about the other kidnapped children. Gagel again tries to dump it on Renaud, which makes Yuna furious, but Elena stops her before she punches him again. She asks Gagel if he agrees to his son's arrest, and when he does, she orders the guards to search the mansion. Gagel protests, but Elena warns that the case isn't over, he might still be found guilty too. After Gagel's taken away, Elena apologizes to Yuna for making her see all that, then takes some guards to rescue the kids. Yuna offers to help, but Elena tells her to escort Missa home. Back at the mansion, Noah and Finer run up to hug Missa, crying and apologizing. The lords and Cliff thank Yuna deeply, bowing in gratitude, which makes her panic a little. But seeing her friend's smiles, she realizes that's all that mattered. Later, the Salvard family loses everything, peace returns, and Missa thanks Yuna, calling her a bear goddess. Yuna blushes but accepts it with an awkward smile. That concludes the anime recap. As always, if you enjoyed, let me know down below, and I'm out.